Welcome back, episode 2. I'm currently enjoying the sun for a minute because it's going to be cold as shit in the workshop, but today's plan, get the body off. I will probably do a lot of this as more of a time-lapse thing. But I'm going to read my little instruction book and get on with it. I brought Freya in to help because she got a nice day out, so sorry about that. Let's do it. Right. According to the book, the body can be readily removed if a systematic sequence of dismantling is adopted. Procedure which follows is recommended. So, we have to remove the bonnet and side panels as described in section B, page... I've got to change sections already. And then we have to disconnect the battery leads, dynamo, starter motor, separate the snap connectors. And there's quite a lot. I'm just going to put the camera down and we'll just work through it. Right, we are a couple of hours in. Done a load of stuff inside that took the time, like the speedo cable, it's a pain in the ass, and the column. Also the steering wheel was weirdly hard because the indicators are in the middle of it. But we're now taking the remainder of the front off. I think you can do it with it all on, but I just thought it just saves damaging anything. This is the first time I've taken a car apart and not broken anything, so could do that wing, and then take the rears off. You don't need to, but don't want to drop it on a corner, and then that bumper bolts through underneath somewhere. So bumper off, wings off, rest of the front off, and then just the body bolts. So in a minute we'll lift it off. Ew.
What?
Is the camera pointing at me?
Yes.
I got off.
No, yes.
Surely I should be here.
No. You were in the shot.
Was I in the middle?
You are now. So what is the plan?
The plan is to lift the body off of the chassis. But I haven't got a ramp or anything. So I think we're just going to keep jacking. And then rest the jack on something. So it jacks higher. So eventually it's head height and then it falls off. Hopefully not. Whee.
Is it going to drop?
No. camera ran out of battery, but we got the body off and put it back down on the floor. And now we're going to strip the chassis down to a bare bones. Noisy woman. We're going to strip this down, engine out, axles off, tank off, old brakes, everything. We'll get it all stripped down now, and then we will start measuring up for the beetle stuff. So,
Thank you.
engine's out. We're now going to go home because it's bank holiday Monday. It's about 3 o'clock and we haven't had breakfast yet. So we're going to go have some food, and I'm pretty sure if I look hard enough at home I'll find a beetle rear end. So I'll take the camera home with me. Go cut that out. Shall we go? Just as I suspected, I have a beetle rear end. It's welded in on a oh, it's not going to work. Ah, fuck. It's welded in on a bit of 50 by 100 box with some little brackets onto the torsion tubes. Shit. So that's actually exactly what I need for the back of the Austin. So I'll do a bit of gardening and try and cut it out and see what happens. I reckon if I cut down here and the same that side, then it will actually be the right size for the chassis as well. Let's go. Honestly a dick. Went through 2 blades. I didn't realise how thick all the box was that I'd put on it. But that's a beetle rear end. So back to the workshop. We'll see how well it fits. And we're back at the workshop. It's not actually the same day. It is now Tuesday and I've just done a full day's work welding up rusty bands, and now I'll do a bit on the Austin. That's the beetle rear end we cut out yesterday. It fits incredibly well in the rails. It's actually going to be slightly further forward than that. It will end up kind of, that centre will actually be about where this bracket is, and that means we've actually only got a tub, a small section out of this floor. We'll obviously have to cut the spare wheel out. Spare wheel well out, and I'll have the tub because I want as wide a wheel as I can get on, but we're also going to build a firewall. So this is all wood at the minute, so we'll take that out and actually build a whole welded in firewall. So from in the back you won't actually be able to go through into the cab like you can on this at the moment. I'm now going to take the rest of the front end of the chassis apart. Be a bit boring, but I'll get a couple of shots. And the only other thing is the wheel. I had this idea for the wheels for this because I didn't really know what would look good on something so old and on a bit of a budget. We've got a lot of old split rim parts kicking around here, so I've got enough, I think, to make just flat faced wheels, which I think, I don't know if, you know, write in the comments if you agree, but I think this is a good look. I'm thinking with like a cream centre, maybe bronze, something like that, but let me know in the comments what you think about the wheels. I think they look good, I think. Let me know. Welcome back to another episode. So, it's time to put the rear end in. I have cleaned up the workshop like I said I would. printed some new t-shirts in this nice purple colour. So if anyone wants one, I might put them on the website. I just printed up something for me to wear. But right, this episode we are going to put the rear end in. I have got to go away this weekend for a trip to York, so I want to try and get this done and in before I go. Probably not the bags, but I want to try and get the rear end in. So this episode, that needs to go in there. What I'm going to do is cut these rear rails completely off. If you've got a better idea, leave it in the comments, but I'm going to cut these completely off. Then mount that bit of box across that chassis. Rear end will then be in. We will then build a cradle around this whole thing to hold the rear bags, mounts, everything like that all in there, and then put the back half of these rails back on. That will then bolt back into the car. Have to cut the floors out, but we knew that anyway. So hopefully this will work. If it doesn't, I'll just put it out for the whole world to see me fail. So, let's get to it. Workout. That was a proper cat deed, that saw's all blind. But one side's done. I won't film the other side because how many times you want to see it. But we'll report back in a moment, hopefully with the chassis cut off and no tools on fire. Right, chassis off. Now you can probably see what I was talking about. So this rear end will now go on this chassis, and then the rails will come here, over and back. Hang on, let me get the rear end out. I'll show you what I mean. So this will basically go back on, but with that section in the bin. I'll run them up the inside. That should all work. I'll make some gussets and things, put some strength back in it, but the idea is there and it should work, so let's get on with it. So I got the chassis all prepped. I was about to weld on the Beetle rear end, and then I had a random thought. So I went home, spent that night pondering, and I can't see a reason to put this much effort in to then take it all apart again to build it with wishbones and things. So I had an idea. It's going to be a massive U-turn now. I'll just show you. Follow me. Oh. Well, there you go. You can see the plan. I brought this when I had the yellow truck to steal the engine out of. So it's low mileage. It's a low mileage car. It's just, well, I say low mileage, it isn't that low. It's on 102,000, I think. It's the 1.8 VVT, VTEC. Now, I've done some measuring. Front subframe should fit, rear should fit. Austin should still sit on the floor, but it means the money I could spend on, hang on, the money I was going to spend on the Beetle stuff was cheapest I could find an engine, 1,500 quid. You know, beam, air ride stuff like that is another grand, 1,500 quid. So that's 3 wheels. Well, I'm still going to put wheels on it, but that adds to it as well. So rather than doing that, we're just going to skip that step and go straight for the MX-5. So I'm going to pull the rear subframe off, front subframe, take it to work, mount them on the chassis, then engine. I spoke to Motorsport Electronics, who now do a complete standalone ECU for these, because they've got some weird things like the clutch pedal's got a switch on it that changes your idle, I believe. So it'll get rid of all that stuff. I had planned to put the Austin engine back in, but I think I might just put this one in. And then speeds. At least we can go to Snetterton, or, you know, attempt to drift the Austin. But yeah, I'm going to break the rest of this car if anyone's after. It's got heated leather and all that jazz. I'll break it, if not I'll cut it in half and put it in the skip. Car's about to get interesting. So, ignore the first part of this video. When we come back with next week's video, hopefully we'll be putting some Miata stuff on the Austin. I've just driven 4 hours back from Leeds, no, where are we? York. And rather than enjoying this ridiculously sunny day, I am going to take the rear end off this MX-5 so we can get on with this car. But it needs moving a little bit. I'm just going to do it outside. It hasn't been started in quite a long time, so what do you reckon? Will it start? It's not looking good. I'll give it a little push on. It's honestly so mouldy in here. Convertibles are not the one. Well, I guess we're going to take it apart right here. Fuck it, let's get on with it. It's like 3 hours later. I hate cars so much. But we've moved it. I moved it back. I've done brake lines, things like that. Every bolt just wants to either snap or not come undone. But we're getting somewhere with it. So I'm going to continue to take this apart and then drop the subframe off, take it to the workshop and try it under the Austin. But I'm so sunburnt now. I don't know how this has taken this long, but this is just the realities of, it's not even old, it's just the realities of cars. Cars are horrible. I don't know why we work on them, but we do. So I'm going to persevere, and probably the next clip will be at the workshop, or it'll be me on the floor crying. We shall see. Well, it's a new day. That was still a chore, but it's off. So I'll now take that to the workshop. Well, tomorrow I'll take that to the workshop. After work we'll lay it next to the chassis and see how far out it is. But through the power of editing, and there we have it. Now, I'm going to attempt to draw the chassis legs here. I'm not an expert at this by any means. I'm self-taught. So I'll guide you through what I'm going to do. And hopefully it makes sense, and hopefully it works. Right, so let me open a little doggy book. What I'm thinking is, if I draw the original rails, what I'll do is take a measurement across them. Got a measurement across the back end of where it used to mount to the body. Sort of 4 bolt holes. What I'm going to do is come up over this, across the top of this. I know the height this needs to be to run the wheels on, and then I've just got to get back to the old body mounts. So in theory, if I've got a centre line of the chassis, centre of this, I know the measurement from this point here I've marked on the chassis to where the centre of the wheel's got to be, and I know the centres of them, so in theory, everything's in theory. Sadly I'm not, but I'll start doing this now and then we'll draw it on the computer. I am pretty sure this is everything I'm going to need. But no doubt I'll be wrong. But if we go draw them up now on the computer and cut them, and have a better idea. But here's to building a chassis. Right, if I've worked this out properly, that should be the bottom of the chassis, the top of the MX5 frame, and then the rear end of the chassis. So now I'm just going to join them together with a little squiggly line. Squiggly line equipped. So this is the side-on view of the rail, and then this is the top angle. If I click on that, you'll see it better. This is the top angle. So if you imagine from a bird's eye view, this is what shape you'll see, and then this will be the shape if you were looking at it side on. So there's a little bit of folding involved, and I've obviously got to cut 4 sides and 4 tops, so say you make a box. So I'm going to go home now and see if we can cut these on the cutter. I don't know why I keep doing this face all the time. Vlogging's harder, right? Well, you might have just seen some footage of that cutting, but it might have gone absolutely terribly, so it might not be in there. But if it is, that was the cutter working. I've done 2 tops, no, I've done 2 bottoms and the 4 sides. Now I might have shot myself in the foot because I've designed a chassis rail that bends sideways and up and down. Normally I'd cut it out of 2mm and test it, but I got a bit overexcited and I've just done it straight out of 5mm, so if it goes wrong, that's an expensive mistake, but if it goes right. But anyway, my dinner's ready now. Well, actually it was ready about 10 minutes ago, so it's going cold. So we'll regroup in the morning and I'll see you at the workshop. So obviously my chassis sections fit perfectly, but we'll get back to that in a minute. We've got Den is coming from Slambassa to pick up that white Mazda truck, because I let them have that because they're going to build it, and realistically I ain't going to have time to build it. And the MX5 we were going to use under that is now going under this. So we've now got a shuffle. I've already moved everything through there. Now I've got to move the Austin and the Navara, both of which don't have chassis under them. So we're going to move that, and then we'll get back to this and I'll explain what's going on with the chassis sections. Took most of the day yesterday, but we managed to get that Mazda out. Nothing went wrong at all. We dropped the Austin. There was no damage or anything though. But I'm now just going to clean up the last bit of this room, and then I can actually lay this chassis out, get it all level, mark a centre line, get the MX-5 bit in the right place, and I'll show you the chassis rails, and then we can actually get on with this video. But last push, get it clean. Cleaning, but in the next shot it will be spotless. Okay, so it's not spotless, but it's cleaner. I'm now going to try and MacGyver up a chassis table. I'm thinking if I use this random frame, one of these old wall boards from a fridge, and maybe that bit of 2mm steel over there, we could build something a bit higher and hopefully get it level, I think. But I put a wing on the car, I forgot how long it was. It's really Cruella de Vil, so lock up your dogs. But bodge that together now, put the chassis on it, start getting the rear end on. It's been a bit of a here and there video, but we're busy at the minute, so I'm doing what I can. Bear with me. The chassis table worked for demonstration purposes, but not for chassis building. So we're going to regroup on that tomorrow and actually build one. Because Chris is convinced this won't be the last chassis we do. I'm not. But, just going to probably run some big bits of like 100 by 50 along top of that frame. Box them across, obviously make sure it's all level and put some sort of adjustment on the feet. But going back to the rails, which I cut perfectly, which were actually wrong. You can see the idea of them if I come over here. So that'll run along, up and across the top. That subframe is then 4 inches off the floor, which means when it's on full, when the car's on full drop, I'll have full drop on the subframe. And then I can add or remove camber if I need to. And then they obviously curve in to meet it. It'll be the same both sides. Now where I went wrong is earlier you see I obviously drew up the top and bottom as well, but I didn't cater for how much length I'd lose with the bends. Obviously when that plate comes down like that and goes there, it actually ended up being about 6 inches short, but I'm not afraid to admit I've done it wrong. I won't do it again. It's a good job I cut out of 2mm first and not straight out of the 5mm. I've just done it straight out of 5mm, so if it goes wrong, that's an expensive mistake. But this is now at a stage where I can start welding up rails and things, so I think we'll make a chassis table. If you remember the last part of the previous episode, we built a chassis table that didn't chassis table. But thanks to everyone who brought wing covers and t-shirts between then and now, I actually managed to buy some steel. So, we'll get this stuff out of the way, get the chassis moved, get the old chassis table gone, and we'll make a plan with this. Let's go. Right, so what I've gone for is 4 bits of four bits 100 by 50 at 3 meters, 2 bits at 1.5 meters, and then some bits of 50 by 50. The 50 by 50 I'll explain at the end, but what I'm going to do now is lay them out how I think I'm going to build it, and then we will go ahead and start welding. Plan now is to weld up the outer shape. I'm going to do the tack the 4 corners, making sure I get them as level as possible for me, and then I'm going to run 2 up the middle. But I'll tack these up quickly, then I'll show you how I would square it all up to make sure it's square. Then we'll measure, put the centre beams in, and then we'll take a look at the whole thing from the top. So let's go. General, we should be well understood. won't bore you with it, but I'll be back in a minute and show you how to square it up in case you're randomly at home building a chassis table. Let's Go! Right, that frame's welded now, but I need to call my glamorous assistant because that door's shut. And that means I can't get out and I need a tape measure. So...
Would you like me to turn the music off?
No, can you open the door? I need a tape measure.
Oh yeah, of course I can, hang on.
It's like Inception. Right, I need a tape measure. Good. Right, we're going to go corner to corner. Oh. Yeah. So, if you want to square something, and if right, so that measures across there 3, 4, 7, 2. So if we go the other way, that then measures 3, 4, 4, 5. So that's not square. So we need to pull it that way. Right, now we've got 3, 4, 6, 2. Oh, that's 3, 4, 5, 5. So close. We're good. Well, a tiny bit. Right, 3, 4, no, yeah, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. Hey! Square. And that was today's lesson with Jack and Chris. That makes it look better.
Yay! Good job! Call me Miss Rachel.
There you go. Middles are in. Now, I've only welded the tops on them so far, but what I've done is 2 outside ones. They are, obviously we squared the whole outside. 2 outsides are level, both ends. So the centre one's in. I've ignored the level, because obviously this floor isn't flat. So how I've done it is basically ignoring the floor, ignoring everything, and using a level but not as a level. I've used a spirit level as a straight edge, along with measuring, just to make sure everything has ended up the same height. So when it is done, the actual table can be levelled and we'll have a big area. That is just over 1.5 meters by 3 meters, 3.1 long. Now, it's not the same length as the car, obviously, but it's most of the way there. I didn't want to make something so big we couldn't move it or store it, so I went with a happy medium, but it should all make sense once I put the other bars on. So I will quickly weld all the downs on this and the other side, and then I'll take you through my plans, and hopefully my plans work, because if not, I'm even more money into this car. But I really like the car, so I don't mind. But there'll be even more money in, and I'll just have to make it into a mezzanine floor. So I'll weld it up, back in a minute.
Hey, you know what's impressive about this? Left that rod on the way over here, and also I haven't been flushed.
When he stop making noise, we'll carry on.
Green light, let's get it. 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 I'm the future, I'm in it. Check score, I'm winning. Green light, let's get it. I just win.
Now we have a big frame, all fully welded. Now, the bits of 50 that I was talking about beforehand are actually going to be fixtures essentially, so they'll go on in the places you need them. For example, front body mounts, tack one on there, and then, you know, where the rear frame's going, you'll tack some on there, and the idea is that the table itself won't ever get messed up. If I had the money, I'd put a big sheet of 10mm or something on the top, but I don't. So they'll go on in set places, so you can then build off them to whole chassis or rear end or whatever you're building. Hang on. Chris, come lift this chassis.
I'm the future, I'm in it. Check score, I'm winning. Green light, let's get it. I just win, 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 win. I'm on 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Who said I wasn't him? Who said it? All this talk about who's on top and who's not. Miss me with the gossip. Check the score. Yeah. See me coming out the screen. Know I gave myself the green light. Catch a shoe from the 3. If I'm not the one, it doesn't seem right. I need like 2, 4, 5, 6 of them rings. I'm talking back to back to back like 23. Green light, let's get it. I'm the future, I'm in it. Check score, I'm winning. Green light, let's get it. I just win, 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 win. I'm on 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Green light, let's get it. I'm the future, I'm in it. Check score, I'm winning. Green light, let's get it.
So there you have it. This was my plan. Whether it's a good plan or not, I don't know. But bit of 50 welded there, so I've now just got to raise up them body mounts to the right height. Whoops. There's then a bit of 50 there where the join is on the chassis. These two are for the MX-5 subframe. So the theory is I can build off, I know the subframe's got to be 100mm higher, so I can now go 100mm up from those bits of box. And I know the front's got to be 290 from the floor, so I can go up like that. But what this means is we don't ever have to do anything with the actual 100x50 frame, the expensive frame. Those bits of 50, we could change every 6 months, year. Whenever they get a bit bad and you can't get a good measurement off them anymore. What that means is we're also set up for any sized chassis. You can move them bars depending on where your mounts are, where your body mounts are, to save having to make really complicated mounts off of the frame. So, I would say that was a bit of a result. That's cost sub £200. I don't know exactly, I think it's about 150, but I'll put some legs, removable legs on it, and some wheels probably, because when we're not using it I need to put it somewhere, so if I can take the legs off that'll take up less room. But that is the end of this one. Comment if you think it was a good build. Don't comment if not, because I might, cry. But no, comment what you think to it and whether it was a good way to do it, because I think it was, and that's why I've done it that way. But next week we can actually get on with the chassis and we can get on getting that ready. I have spent a week scratching my head about this car and we've made a plan. If you've been following along, you'll remember originally I was going to put the Volkswagen stuff on this, so I cut the rear end of the chassis off. Now I was looking the other day with the MX-5 stuff and I realised I can actually still keep it on, but I made these to obviously come inbound onto the top of the MX-5 chassis. Now I've done a lot of measuring in the car and that then means the rear seat will be like 1 arse wide, and it needs to be 2 arses wide. So, you'll also remember I cut these straight out of 5mm. They were wrong. So I said I should have done them out of 2mm. So what I've done is cut some more straight out of 5mm without doing them out of 2mm, but these ones work. So, I'm going to weld the original chassis rail, weld this all back on, and then go for more of a mini truck style notch, which will sit like that. That will then fit right in the outsides. So the seat will still pretty much be the full width that it always was. I don't mind losing an extra, I think it's 150mm on the very outsides of the seat, because the seat is about 6 inch thick anyway, so I'll just thin it out at the edges. So what we will do is line this all back up. I'll weld the original chassis back on, tack onto the chassis table, tack the rears where they bolt onto the car, weld the fronts on, tack the rears on. Then I will tack these on where they've got to go. I'll run the tops on them and then cut the bottoms out, because these arms come up 150mm from where they are now. If I want to lay the sills on the floor on 17s with an alright sized tyre. Camera's also about to run out of battery, so I guess I will tackle this back together and then join back in a minute. But this is a bit of a 2 steps back, 1 step forward situation. But that's just my life. So we've got to get this rear end on this week. By next weekend I want this all welded up. I won't make the diff mount because I don't actually know where everything's going to run through the car yet, so I will get the rear done this week. I'll also get the front subframe off of the MX-5 this week. Probably shift this whole thing back on the table and then work out where the front's going to go and just pray that I can get the front on the floor. Because if I've done all this to get the rear on the floor and the front's not on the floor, I'll be super upset. You have a better idea of how the notches will sit. They'll sit like that, and obviously that'll flow up and round. The bottoms are a little sharper on the angles, but that's just to make clearance, but they'll set up like that. And then, down here on the joint, I'll make some fish plates, basically bulk it all back up, pull the inside rails in. But that is the plan. And we've also been printing some t-shirts, so while I get this tacked back together, enjoy this little cinematic masterpiece.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Ooh, I've been on the flex since flex zone. Neighborhood all in your eardrums. I ain't never scared like Bone Crush. Boy, I got God, don't fear none. My line busy, take no calls. Feels like I don't have no flaws. Snakes in the grass, cut those off. Your old squad shady, my bros raw. No breaks, we go, 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 go. Throw shade, that's a no, 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 no. Go high, go low, low, low. Like spinning in a 644.
I've got 2 sides this side tacked in, only 1 that side, but just to give you an idea of what you do, obviously line your 2 outsides up, you can then run a level to get your height, you can then level across the back, the front, get everything in the right place. Now what I can do is actually weld on the insides of these, obviously down the outsides, we're then going to plate the top in, and that means we can then cut straight through the back. What that basically means is everything, if you imagine you had, obviously we cut this, but if you forget about that, if you imagine you had a complete chassis, you can weld these on, weld the top on, that'll put the strength back in, nothing, you can cut the bottom out and then weld the bottom in, it means nothing will move. So it's the easy way to do this. I've obviously curved these, you know, try and make it look like the original chassis, but a lot of people just run a square notch, because like half the time they're under the bed of a truck or whatever, so it don't matter. But the reason I've done this is now, originally we were going to go in here, but that meant the interior, the seat of the car would only been about 1.5 foot wide. By doing this, these actually have turrets in the car already, so although they'll be bigger, they'll be right at the outside of the seat. So this shouldn't actually come up higher than what the cushion is on the thing, if everything goes to plan, which it probably won't. But I will now put some welds on these. I've got a cut bracket off the other side to fit the other one, and then we'll come back and see where we're at. This is the bracket I was talking about. You can see I trimmed that one off. I've just welded that one on. So what I'll now do is take the tacks back off that one, grind that bracket off, and then weld that on. Then we'll go about making the tops for them, and I'll show you how I do it. We'll get the 2 tops on, cut the bottoms out, and then look at mounting the subframe. In an ideal world, in this video, I'd like to get the notches in, done, and I would like to mount the subframe. Now I might weld it rather than bolt it, because I don't think it needs to be removable. I'll look back at this in the future when I have to take it off and say, definitely needed to be removable. Right, all welded in now. I'll show you a little trick which you might need to know. If you take from one end then the length you need to cut out your flat. Give or take. Cut this to my tape marks. Now what I've done is mark the centre line. I mark the centres of the two bends. I mark them on the sheet. I'm going to do probably say 10 lines at 10mm apart, and I'll fold it around there. Got a little eBay folder that will bend 5mm, so I'm going to slowly work them round. Obviously if this was straight up, it'd be easy. You just put one bend in it. For some reason I went with curves. If I was at my old workshop, I've got gas bottles there, so I'd probably just tacked this on the top and heated it and bent it round, but we don't. So, I will return. That's one notch done. It follows the shape of the chassis, and I think the side profile is quite nice too. I'm struggling to film here because I've got a massive tripod attached to the camera still. But that's one side welded in. Now I'm going to do the other side. I don't want to make these videos that boring, so I'll just get on and do that. But let me know in the comments if you like this style of video, if you want more cinematic stuff in it, less, more explaining. I'm just getting on with it. This isn't easy, but we're just going with it. Just going to see what happens. Hopefully one day this pays for me to build stupid cars, and then I'll start giving them away. I did think about giving this one away, but I just want to keep it too much. Simple as that. But yeah, one side done. I'll now weld up the other side, and then we'll cut the bottoms out and pray to God that I measured them right and it's got full lift. Then we just need to attach the subframe. So again, I'll be back in a minute. Sorry I keep doing this. Enjoy. I'll throw in some clips. Enjoy this while I weld the other one up.
You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the box. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the box. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Ooh, I'm a real one, my day one. Fast lane, with the booyah, that's a flex. Now human name from a
There's a ball leg. It's out. Well, there's one notch done. I still got to cut the other one. I've got to weld the bottoms on them, but you can get an idea. I think they look pretty good. So, I guess I'll cut the other one out, make some bottoms for them, and then we can mount the subframe. I actually feel like we're getting somewhere. I need to clean all the welds up as well, but I'm happy. Here you go. I wasn't going to show this, I was just going to get on with it, but this is the bottom, right? So once you've cut everything out, you can then fold this up and that'll weld in there. I just thought I'd show that, just so that's the whole lot done then. But it's getting late now, so I'm going to weld that in, cut the other one out. When I come back, we'll look at the subframe. Don't know if you're as bored as me, but hopefully we'll get somewhere soon. Well, that has been a chore and taken a load longer than I anticipated, but both the rails are in now, they're done, they're welded, they're cleaned up. So now it is finally, like I've been saying the whole video, it is finally time to mount the subframe. For the last 4 videos, we've been doing this rear end, but finally, we're at the end. Oh, pain. I'm going to weld these on, drill the holes, bolt the subframe on, add some little gussets in just for the sake of being pretty, but this is 75 by 50, so there ain't no way it's better. It's 6mm wall, there's no way it's bending. But the eagle-eyed amongst you will notice there is a front subframe behind me. So let's get on with this one, finish up this rear so we can actually get on with the front. Holes are drilled, I've dropped some bolts in there just to hold them in place. All these need now is everything positioning where it needs to be exactly, and then welding on. Like I say, I'll run gussets in these corners and some gussets over there, but I mean this is solid. I'm not going to weld this up tonight, I'm going to weld this up tomorrow, and you'll see why in the next clip, but for now I'm going to go home because I've had another idea. Those of you who have followed us for a while will probably remember that we've done some hammers. Now I've got about 20, I think, hammers left, and I've had what I think is quite a cool idea, so I'm going to go home and laser them. But when you join me again tomorrow, I'll weld these on. I won't do the gussets yet because I haven't had, I won't have a chance to cut them, so I'll weld these on, and then we'll take a look at the front end, because I've obviously got to do gussets on these, and I need to make my plates, the spreader plates for them, weld the insides of them, weld this section back on, and then I'll decide whether it's strong enough. I may add some more strength in there, but I don't think it needs it. But for now, I'm going to go home because it is about 6:30, I think. I'm going to go home, do some lasering, make some hammers, come back tomorrow and weld it up. One last thing I will say is, this at the moment is sat exactly where the wheels were sat on the Austin with the original setup on it. Now I think what I'm going to do is actually come back about 10 mil, or maybe slightly more, because the Austin wheels sat really far forward in the rear arches. Ignore the terrible steel wheel, I'm just weighing up options. But where they are now, originally when it was dropped, they were about 20 mil further forward than that, which is obviously fine, but when I have the option to move it, I might as well move them back so they sit better in the arch. Somewhere about there, maybe even slightly further back. But I'm going to stop rambling now, and I will rejoin you here in about 5 seconds your time and about 24 hours my time. So, this is what I was talking about yesterday when I said I was going to hang on till I welded. Spoke to the boys at Artec last Friday. They offered to lend us a welder whilst we couldn't use the other one, but it got me thinking, and I thought, well, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. So, I spent a little bit of money. Now, luckily, the guys at Artec did give me some discount because they wanted to help the channel, so nice one on that. We'll get this unboxed and then see what we've got. So, I've got the new MiG 181. Like I say, this isn't sponsored or anything, but I've got nothing but good things to say about Artec. Anytime we've had an issue with the other one, they'll get you here, get you one here next day to replace it while they fix it. But it's only been once. Most of the issues we've ever had are because of us as people. We don't look after stuff that well. But I'm going to look after this one because I can't afford to buy another one. So I'll get this all put together and then we can actually get on with the car again. But yeah, like I say, massive shout out to Artec. They give us a little bit of discount on it, which helps massively. And I'll be sure to chuck the banner on the wall.
It's too many, ayy, it's too many, yo, it's too many. Yeah, ask them a real question, yeah, I bet it's all lies. Hey, they won't cross that line for a fact that's offsides. Hey, too much penalties when they run this back, yeah, it's fines. Hey, could have been here with us, but we do not force no vibes. Hey, she gon' ride the whip and let me park it in the driveway. They just want the praise, want the Yahweh. Getting so much bread, yeah.
Right then, where are we at? I have cut these engine mounts off, the original engine mounts, because we're not using the original engine. So, they're out of the way now. I have actually laid the MX-5 subframe underneath. Now, it won't go high enough because the chassis is in the way. But at a quick glance, luckily the towers pretty much miss. The steering looks like it's going to end up in the right place. And I will have to move the engine mounts, but I'll show you why in a minute. But what I am going to do, you can see I've marked this here, and then, well, you probably can't see it actually, but I've marked a section there. I'm going to notch that out on both sides, and I've got some heavy angle, which I'll then weld in there to obviously put the strength back in. That will then make it clear the chassis. So it will then lift up to the height it needs to be. We'll then look at making the brackets to bolt it on. So there's the front tower and the rear end. Now the fronts will bolt on. I'll probably end up with a plate on the top each side to bolt them on. The rears, I may actually not use the original mounting holes. I may weld a plate upwards and bolt sideways into the chassis, but they will all then bolt on. What I then have to do is obviously build the towers for the struts. Now they've got to be pretty chunky because it will be the whole weight of the car. So the whole front of the car, engine, everything will be on there. But for now, we're going to notch the subframe. So watch this.
Wave. Yeah. I pull up you deep on my niggas, consider it's pivotal. Trap through the app, make her clap it, no cap it, she tapping it fast. I think that you know they be catching it. Standing 6 feet up, casting a shadow. What niggas that talk like they bad, they know that we got it. They talk off from actual. I make the waves on tsunami, I dare you to paddle it. The trunk steady rattling. Blowing top tier to keep my thoughts clear. I see the option there, I'm on my shot, call it big boss. That never know the time, I'm never clocking in. Wildflower, I'm like Denzel, I've been a man on 5. I'm hot lava, you are not scarred, you are proudly. I'm a real to the cover seal. Heart
chill from all this talking real. Reads the life feel like a highlight reel. Currently thumbing through currency. I'm from the avenue, bitch, I'ma get it regardless. I told little baby to slide with that Lotus, pull up with the garden. My guard is down till you come around, trying to hold you some. Give up how you feel, I don't owe you nothing. Now you trying to make amends. I'm just trying to get the fortunes. Trying to cut my mama fortress. Pop might pull up in a Porsche. I used to be quiet, was timid. They used to catch me skipping courses. Now they snapping portrait. Hard head but never forced it. I got a pin it shine like it's supposed to. The way I deliver they pros to. My neck got a compass to know where we going. It sound like I'm stepping through portals. I'm off of that poison, the devil be calling, but I just ignore it, hit for it. The task force tell me God. Okay, yeah, you asked for it. Wait, the task force tell me God. Okay, yeah, you asked for it. Wave, the task force tell me God. Look, the way that I ball, I should've played for the Big Ten when I touch stage, but they packed in. Got a pretty thing to make a back bend. Let me see it all through the glass lens. Had some people try to snake if I see you, I'm teed up, I get you with brass hands.
Cut them out. Now I'm gonna struggle and lift it onto the thing. Lift it up against the chassis and see where we're at. So sorry. I did as much enthusiasm as I can have today, so bear with me.
And I'm not 10, I'm so in love with the process. Not all in a day, but it took him some time to build Rome. I just copped the crib, never home. No, I can't keep a charge on the phone. So she thinks she in love with a ghost. When I'm home, I make sure that she get what she needs so she know what I'm capable of. Know my rhythm could spar with the pros. They pay me to hear what I'm on, to ask what I'm on. I'm doing great, I suppose. Cause I get to do what I want, it's legit, but it sound like it's straight from the stove. They playing my tape in the field and they treat me like I'm making plays in the fort. Let a beat bang with a force. I'm a product of staying the course, yeah. I watch my step on a tightrope. The rate going up at a high slope. I don't got no work-life balance. I'm never throwing the towel in. The pen game hella nice with it. The flow heavy like a hydrant. But it come with a patent, I'm laughing and badgering. All of them boys that won't bite it. I keep my center and shine like I'm supposed to. The way I deliver, they post to. I'm going somewhere you ain't seen on no atlas. It look like we stepping through portals. I'm off of the potion, the devil be calling, but I just ignored it for it. Task force told me go up. Okay, you asked for it. Let's go. Way up, so high, so high, so high. The task force told me go up. So higher, I'm so higher, I'm so higher.
I am honestly a category B write-off. I am waiting for Matt Armstrong to try and buy me and restore me. I'm not in a good way, but we got under. And now I can show you, look, steering misses the chassis. The original steering box was here, so that'll join in nicely. The arms are just out of the way now. We put the notches on. All the power steering seems good as well, so I reckon I can keep all that on there, which means a lovely ride. I'll lift it up now if I don't pass out, and yes, then we can have a look at some bits that we need to plasma, because I still have the gussets to do on the rear end. And the reason I dropped the subframe was because I didn't want the weight just hanging there, but that's all ready to go on. So technically once we get the front on, we can bolt the rear on and it'll actually be rolling, and then we can fit the engine, which I will show you in a moment. It's just through there. Here you can see what we're going for. They'll tuck round there, and then I think I'll make I think it's going to near enough be a flat plate to then bolt this on. Obviously gussets, whatever, make it strong enough, but the steering will then Norfolk. The steering will then clear. Anti-roll bar will go back on. Then I've just got to make ram mounts out from here to, I'll probably pull them in, because the closer the better, but we're actually getting somewhere. Now, I wanted to get the whole front end on this weekend, but I'm in no fit state. But one thing I will say is I've still got a bit done considering, and also found out a few things. So this is the engine, MX-5 engine, gearbox, and the power cradle, I don't know, as a spine basically. Now, this will actually bolt back onto the diff. Now, obviously the wheelbase is different between the Austin and the MX-5, but if I bolt that on that diff, the front of the engine then ends up here, which will fit in the bay. I'll just have to adjust the firewall slightly, I think, but I was going to have to anyway. So that will actually bolt in. So now I don't have to make a diff mount or anything because it will be as it was in the MX-5. The gear stick will come between the seats, which is obviously where you have a gear stick. So it's all actually going to go pretty quick from now. What I said before about the engine mounts is originally that they mount on there. I'm actually going to have to pull that back about 10 inches. But that ain't the end of the world because of how they're mounted. Obviously I haven't got to make a gearbox mount either now because it will be on that power frame, I can't remember what it's called, I'll have to look on Google. It's a power frame. So yeah, I am now going to go home and cut some gussets. I need the gussets for the rear, try and work out the front and get all that cut so then I can actually have a big hit after work tomorrow and get all them welded on. This will obviously be in next week's video when I'm back to full form, or as much form as I'm ever at. But yeah, I just wanted to put a video out today as I said I would, and I just showing that, you know, it's okay not to get, you know, as much done sometimes. Sometimes you're ill, sometimes you have to live with it. But I wanted to at least get something done, so I didn't feel like I'd wasted a weekend. We've got 6 weeks left now, 6 weeks. I'm quietly confident with this one because it all seems to be lining up. Like, what are the chances that a front subframe basically would fit on a 75-year-old chassis, same as the rear, same as the engine, having to move the engine back, but it just happens to then put the gear stick and everything into the right place. Like, this car, this absolute gem of a car, I'm pretty sure Mazda used an Austin 16 to work out how they were going to build the MX-5. But then again, I might just be having a stroke of luck for a change.
Rolling, it's another. He just got the window tinted. Homie stabbed me in the back and that can never be forgiven. And my palms been itching, man. I like your superstition. You can't have my phone number unless we running up the digits. Let me meditate. I just need a couple.
Well, there you have it. The chassis is back on its wheels. Now, it might seem like I've skipped massively ahead, but I actually haven't. There's just a few things I had to do to get to the next stage of what we need to do. So I thought I'd get a bit done off camera just to save. It's a lot of the same stuff as what we have been doing. But rear end's bolted on and that all lined up well. Front end, I actually done a lot of sort of research on it, and I was going to make it all bolt on, but I decided to actually weld it on in the end, just to stiffen up the front as much as I could, because the front of the chassis was actually quite, not weak, but I think there'd have been a lot of flex in it. So for the sake of the rare chance I damage the subframe, I thought I will weld it on, and if we ever do hit a brick, whatever, to end up bending it, then I'll just cut it off and weld a new one on. So I've made just some top tabs at the minute to hold that on and the back. Now I'm actually going to use the engine mounts to stiffen all the front end up, but we had to put the engine in first to work out where the mounts are going to go. In the last one I said I was going to run it with the power frame and have the engine set further back. Now when I actually got the chassis off and put it next to the car, I realised that that engine would have been 7 inches back from there, so I'd have had to get the kids to sit in the back to change gear for me, and I'd have lost so much of the firewall. So I've actually thought, do you know what, we'll move the engine forward. Which brings us to the first job for this video, which is to extend an aluminium frame. Now, I don't have the facilities here to weld the alley in, so I've came up with what I think could be a good idea of making a sandwich plate and clamping it. So we'll get into that, and then I guess we'll do engine mounts. And then the engine's in, which will then bulk up the front. Then all we have to do is build the ram mounts on the chassis, and then we can run brake lines, hydro lines, fuel lines, and then the body can go on. And then before you know it, we'll be driving. Maybe. But for now, I've taken the measurements on this, bolted the diff end on, bolted, obviously, engine's already on the gearbox. So I've got my measurements, I've cut my plates, and we're now going to attempt to do that. Oh yeah, and we're going to extend the prop ourselves. So how well that's going to go, I'm not sure, but let's get into it. Right, so this is my plan. This section was flat, right? There's about a 5-inch completely flat section, top and side. So I've decided to make a frame that will clamp like this, and also I'll have this same on the insides. So I'll drill through the top in a couple of places, a bolt through there, bolt through the side. Now it should work. Like I say, the only stress on this frame really is side to side, but that'll move in the rubber mount, so it's not really stress. The only issue I think I'm going to have is if you, obviously this is the diff in the gearbox. Now that kink was where basically where the prop came through. Now the only issue I think I might have is extending that and extending the prop. I think it might throw that curve off. So the prop might hit here. If it does, then I guess we'll just have to make this frame from scratch out of steel, but I'd rather not. So I will now weld, I reckon, tack that on, tack all the 4 sides on, and then I think that should work. The reason I sound deflated about it is in case it goes wrong somewhere further down the line, I can go, well, I didn't think it was going to work anyway. But I actually do think it's going to work. So I am going to weld that up. And we're back. It's actually the next day. I have been looking for this spacer that goes in the top of that diff. I've been looking for that for about 5 days now, and I actually found it in the back of the van from when we brought the engine over. Now, I have finished this contraption. Obviously welded on all the sides, bolted through, and I actually cut steel the same length as what the gap was and put that in there and welded that in as well. Will it work? I'm 95% sure it's not going to, but on the off chance that 5% works, I'm going to be happy. Now, next issue I can see is this is potentially going to hit. It looks pretty close beforehand, so only time will tell on that one. But I think everything is right. I've got this nifty angle finder. Now, when you do, what's that? 215, depends how I put it. Yeah, 195. Now, you want to be the same angle, but opposite on the other end. Now, that doesn't count, I'm just holding it on. I did put it on there a minute ago with a ruler, but basically when you set pinion angle, so you have your gearbox and your prop, what you want is this angle at the end of here wants to be basically I'm going to say the opposite of that angle. It's not the opposite, they want to be the same but on a different plane, so they're completely parallel. Your overall drive shaft angle when that's on, so this angle that it sits at, wants to be ideally less than 5 degrees. It should be on this. But yeah, basically, as long as you set that end right and that end right, so they're dead parallel. On this, it obviously goes that way as well. But they should be parallel because that frame's still in there. As long as you set them right, you won't have any vibrations and you won't wear out drive shafts for no reason. A lot of people just put them in and don't do stuff like that, and it will just bite you in the ass. Now the engine I haven't actually checked, but that wants to be 4 degrees or less basically, so let's have a look. I'm a little nervous, I have to say. Ooh, I can live with that. So that'll work. The engine's about 1 inch off the floor, so that'll save me smashing it on anything. So diff's in now, frame's in, gearbox, engine. So yeah, time for engine mounts. Now, I think I'm going to come along from the standard mount back to here with a flat sheet, then a flat sheet on top welded between the chassis. That'll then tie like all of that area in, and it'll be nice and strong. We're all about strong. So yeah, I guess I'll do some measurements, cut them, and weld it all together. the rams should be here tomorrow. So then we can come off of here to where that ram's going to come. So we can get them in, get the back ones in, and then I think I'm going to put the body on. I was talking about running fuel lines and brake lines before I put the body on, but then I realised it's going to come back off anyway. So I think we'll put the body on, we can start cutting the body about to how we need it to be, get the pedal box in, because without that we won't go very far. And then I reckon we'll pull the body off. I'm also going to run a hydro handbrake in this, just in case I try and do any drifting. So I can obviously mount that and work out where that's going as well, so I know where to run that rear brake line. Now there's only one brake line that I need to put on for the rear, because that's how they run on these. The fronts I can obviously do with the body on or off. It makes no difference because the front end is off at the minute. Oh, before I forget, I talk about gussets every single time. I am the gusset man, but I've actually made the gussets. So I can weld the gussets on and stop saying the word gusset every single time I do a video. So I guess I will do a little bit of measuring and stuff now, and then I will join you at the plasma cutter.
But they still respect the women, he's the rolling, it's another. He just got the windows tinted, homie, stab me in the back and that can never be forgiven. And my palms been itching, man, I like the superstition. You can't have my phone number unless we running up the digits. Let me meditate, I just need a couple minutes. Tryna lowball me, my girl.
That's enough of that. Look at that poor thing. But right, that's enough of that. Back to the workshop. Right then, back at the workshop. So engine mounts, plates and everything are cut now. So they're going to go in like this. And then the other plate will go on the top. I mean, that's open to discussion. Might change, who knows. But more excitingly, look what has turned up. The rams are here. So the front's bolt in pretty good, just got to make the towers. The rears will go in, get in here. The rears will go in here, and I imagine I'll make a tower on the inside. I may take this rose joint out and actually mount it underneath.
Wave. Me on the beat too. Look, yeah. Okay. I pull up you deep on my niggas, consider it's pivotal. Trap through the app, make her clap it, don't cap it, she tapping it fast. I think that you know they be catching it. Standing 6 feet up, casting a shadow of niggas that talk like they bad it. They know that we got it, they talk far from actual. I make the waves so tsunami, I dare you to paddling. The trunk steady rattling. Blowing top tier to keep my thoughts clear. I see the opt in there, I'm on my shot, call it big bar shit. I never know the time, I'm never clocking in. Wildflower, I'm like Denzel, I've been a man on fire, bitch, I'm hot lava. You are not scarred, you are proudly, I'm a real nigga to the coffin still. Heart chill from all this talking real. Recent life feel like a highlight reel. Currently thumbing through currency, I'm from the avenue, bitch, I'ma get it regardless. I tell little baby to slide with that Lotus, pull up with the garden. My guard is down till you come around, trying to hold you some. Give a fuck how you feel, I don't owe you nothing. Now you trying to make amends, I'm just trying to get the fortunes.
I can't. I wasn't supposed to shout at you.
Like this.
Do the front rounds more.
Okay, return then. That was the first drift, you saw it here.
Oh, can you see my damaged forehead here? There's like a somewhere here. There's like a look. There's this. I bent over the other day and that stabbed me in the head and made me bleed. It's so close to my
I see
eye.
it.
No compensation.
No win, no fee.
Yeah. No face, no case. I didn't see it happen. Go under that corner.
You give it a quick lift. Can I just
lift?
You can manage that? Just a.
No! My spine went down.
I'll go just the jack.
People are going to be watching this remembering a video about 3 videos ago where I'd done this and it fell off. That's probably enough.
Why not?
Let's put it on the ground now, isn't it?
How's it sliding harder on this floor?
Oh, I might have to time out for a minute, I'm sweating. Before I get lynched, there is actually bits for it to slide on underneath, but I'm just dragging the bottom of the car. We are dragging the bottom of the car on the floor, but
You have to do that once it's on the road as well, so.
yeah, it's going to be getting done at like 50 mile an hour.
That's what running boards are for anyway. Run them.
I'm just not going to take any passengers. Everyone has to stand on the side like
Lots of doors.
the opposite side.
Let's do that, man!
I can't film you without maxing out the microphone.
Sorry.
Car is now in the other workshop. I don't know how much that last clip I put in because it's long. Basically, we dragged the car through. It seemed like the better option rather than trying to balance it on a pallet or wheels. The only reason I did that as well is because I know that the bottom of the running boards is slightly off the floor. It's basically just on the 2 sills, and they're going to get dragged on the floor at about 50 mile an hour anyway. So that's now in there. I've lifted it how it says to do it in the owner's, the old manual, workshop manual I had with it. I don't really like it. You basically go through the windows. So I think what I'm going to do is lift it only as high as I have to, like that. I'm going to roll the chassis under, and then I think I'll drop the car down, because obviously I've got to cut the rear floor and things out, so I'm going to drop the body down, so it's resting on the chassis. I think I'll then jack it up with a trolley jack, cut bits, lower it down, lift it up, cut, whatever I have to do, rather than leaving it hanging by the windows and doors, because that just doesn't seem right. But it's on there now. It's hanging off of the floor. But yeah, it just seems a bit questionable to me. But anyway, I shall proceed. Now I'm going to roll this through. I've used some blocks of wood as suspension. So I'll roll that through and see how we go. It's now about, I don't know, the football's on, so I guess it's about 5:30 on Saturday. Obviously this video is going out tomorrow evening, so got to get a move on. Let's go. It actually isn't that bad. Slight bit of trimming on the tunnel. Little trimming it out of the firewall, but it doesn't actually encroach on the car. Hang on, I can open the doors. It doesn't actually encroach into the car very much. I don't know how well you can see that. But the rear obviously needs a load of cutting out. But now it's on here. It's pitch black, I don't know what I'm trying to show under there. Now it's on the chassis, I can obviously jack the body up and trim the back section out. So, that's a job for tomorrow, because it is, what's the time, Christopher?
It is now, it's got to be about 7:30ish because England have just won penalties.
England have just won penalties.
8:15.
8:15, it's 8:45, and I was only going to be here till about dinner. But, first thing tomorrow is get that mouse poop and stuff out of there, take the seat out, and then start trimming, and then we'll get it flat and I've got the pedals out of the MX-5 here. I've got the fuel tank, so I'm going to see what we can make work. I was about to buy a pedal box, but if I can make these ones work, I can use that money and buy brakes and other safe things. But yes, I think that's about it for tonight. Chris is just building up the new wheels for it.
For what?
Yep, sorry, never mind now. But yeah, so we've got about an inch to go on the front and about 6 on the rear, so that's a job for the morning. So, Sunday now, I have just hoovered, I swept it, then hoovered it, holding my breath the whole time. I even put gloves on, which is a rarity for me. And then I've used some Auto Finesse interior disinfectant. I don't think that's what it's for, but I just thought I'd squirt some shit down, some stuff down to get rid of any mouse droppings, just to be on the safe side. But if we look through this tiny hole, there's obviously diff. There's one bit of angle there and one under there. So by my calculations, I've got to cut about here and then about here. I can't show this on camera, I don't know what I'm trying. About here along the sides of these tubs. Now I'll have to take a section out of the side where the chassis rails come up, and then the rear should be able to sit back down on the chassis. That is what I'm trying to achieve in this video, because then I can build from there. So this floor section is just on that gearbox, but as you can see, the original tunnel is actually wide enough for the engine. Obviously I cut up that front that I showed, so this video will be finished when the body sits on the chassis. Now hopefully that is in the next couple of hours, so that gives me a chance to edit this and get this up for tonight, Sunday night. Worst case, that'll go up on Monday. I'd rather get it up tonight because I said I would. But I am now going to start marking and cutting. What I will do is measure. I'll use this as a datum, so I'll measure from underneath here to that first bit of angle. I'll take that measurement, I'll then measure that on the top with a point both sides, probably run the little laser across, mark it, cut that, same there, which I'll probably actually measure from the frame back to the other frame, do a line across. I'm going to lose part of my spare wheel tub, but I don't think the 75-year-old spare wheel is going to fit on the MX-5 stuff anyway. So we've also got to try and fit the petrol tank in that back section, which is going to be a pain, but we'll deal with that when we come to it. I've also not mentioned yet, I have liquidated some of my stuff and freed up a little bit of money, so I have brought some things, some quite exciting things. So they will come probably in the next video, because they should be getting delivered this week. And it's not the hydros. I have ordered the hydros, but I've ordered something else pretty jazzy. And the company that makes it has actually done us a solid and given us a bit of discount because they wanted to help out, which is also a massive bonus. But for now, let's do some cutting.
Trying to cut my mama fortress. Pop might pull up in a Porsche. I used to be quiet, was timid. They used to catch me skipping courses. Now they snap a nigga portrait. Hard head but never forced it. I got a pin it shine like it's supposed to. The way I deliver they postal. My neck got a compass to know where we going. It sound like I'm stepping through portals. I'm off of that poison the devil be calling, but I just ignored it for it. The task force told me God. Okay, yeah, you asked for it. Wait. The task force told me.
Bottoms out. I think my plan is to come up this line, and there is a line over there. I reckon I will come up about 2 inches above the highest point of that on both sides, and then start lowering it down, because I don't want to cut higher than I need to on these tubs, and I probably could take an educated guess, but because of the car's on the angle, obviously the chassis flat and the car's arse up at the minute, so it's a bit of guesswork, and I could end up cutting out more than I need to for no reason. But I think I need to take a tiny bit out of that tunnel first as well. But the hole itself is pretty good. This section is obviously, it was all shaped for the axle. Get a better angle of that. It was all shaped for the axle and everything. obviously it doesn't need to be now, so I shouldn't lose that much of the bottom cushion, because now the top is flat. So I will sheet on top essentially of the frame we put in, which hopefully now makes a bit more sense why I was so stressing about getting the rails as far out as I could, and that bit's flat, so we should keep most of the rear seat. But I shall now trim them last bits out and finally get this on the floor, although it looks terrible on these wheels, so that's ruining it a little bit, because everyone likes a mock-up. But let's get on with it again. Done. It is on the floor, and well, hang on, I better show you, because that's all you probably really care about. The wheels are so bad it makes me feel sick, but there's a nice bit of tuck, which means wide wheels. The running boards are a little bent up, but they're pretty much on the floor, and it's all gone quite successful, actually, I'll have to say. It's very late now though, so I need to go and quickly edit this to get this out tonight. But it is on the floor. It was well worth changing them. At the time I kind of regretted starting and then changing the chassis rails and things, but like if you look at this angle, like we've lost barely no floor, and them chassis rails, what I will do is tub, so I'll draw, that's going to be in the next video anyway, but I'll draw around them, cut the section out behind them, tub over them and down, and then this had armrests originally, so I will narrow the seat a little bit, a couple of inches each side, and extend the armrest so you can't see any of that. But yeah, we now have a car on the floor, actually on a chassis rather than just on the floor. First things first, need to trim more out of this back section where it meets this subframe, because the whole body needs to go forward slightly. I've also marked these edges where these notches are, so I'll cut them out. I'll come straight out, down, angled section, floor, that'll come anyway. Tunnel. Now, although the power frame fits in it, it does need a bit trimmed out of it, so I'm just going to take the rest of the tunnel out and make it from scratch. Then Firewall and everything looks pretty good at the moment, so we shall go tunnel first. No, I don't have the grinder. There we go.
I know I've been quiet for a minute, I've been grinding, still in it, I've been counting these digits, excuse me. I know I've been quiet for a minute, but I'm back on my business. If you see me, don't trip, just excuse me. Wrong if I do, wrong if I don't. That's why I do me no matter what, so excuse me. Lie if I do, lie if I don't. The proof is in the story, take a seat and excuse me. The crash came when the cash came, spend it before you get it like those rookies all on draft day. For the love like it's match game, hit the ground running, really do it for my last name. They act different when the facts change. I'm not with the tip for tag games. In my own league I don't chase game. In my own league I don't hang with lane.
Right, trimmed everything out. I've jacked the body up and put some bits of wood under the front. I'm going to attempt to lift it up now. That didn't sound good. I just want to take the weight off it, and in theory, the chassis should roll. It did. Trouble is, I've shut the boot and I don't know how far it's rolled. Well, I might have gone too far. Oh no! I haven't gone too far, I rolled it the wrong way. I'll have to come back. Made a slightly longer arm. basically, what I'm trying to do is, they're the original mounting points, and there's 2 over there, and then, these are my bits of wood, and then there's 2, well, 1 down in there and 1 that side. I'm basically just trying to line them all up at this point. And I think we're about there, and already the wheels are looking in a better place in the arches. Like I said before, they were always real far forward. Thought I had a modified car then. They were always really far forward in the arches. I came back 20 mil, I didn't want to come back too far because the actual shape of the arch is kind of longer at the back, the same as it is on the front, so we didn't go too far, but I think we're in about the right place now. I'll have a little fiddle about and I'll join you back here in a minute. Okay, so I told a lie in the last clip. It's not perfectly in the right place, but it's within 5 mil. It doesn't matter anyway, because I'm going to build this with a little bit of spare room anyway, because it just saves stuff. You know, as the chassis moves, the body moves, it saves stuff rubbing. But what we're going to do is come back a little bit more on this, slope up, go across, and then slope down the back to about here somewhere, because this floor's a little tatty, so we'll get rid of the rust at the same time. Then we'll cut on this line, come out to these, just past, down to the bottom of this rail, and then we're going to come diagonally across to this point. Only a shallow slope, not enough that I don't think you'll notice it through the foam on the seat. That's just to cater for the rams, because they're going to mount sort of just inside this section here, and the back of the seat is actually here, so they'll be behind anyway. So that will then be that rear done. We've then got to move on to the tunnel. Now what I will do is build the firewall section around the back of the engine, then that will come out probably far enough that the gearbox tunnel won't really actually have to taper that much. We've obviously just got to hit this level here for the gear stick to operate, because you know, without that we'd be pretty screwed. And then we'll come along here. The front, hang on, the front section, I'm actually going to drop this down. Like I said, we've got a pedal box coming, so that's coming tomorrow, so I'll be able to explain a little bit better what I mean. But where it is curves up under the front, I'm going to actually drop that down a little bit flatter, just so the pedals sit flatter and where my feet are. Luckily I've got pretty short legs anyway, so it doesn't matter massively. But that will then be the metalwork on the cab body done. Then we need to address all the other half finished stuff. Obviously I've got to put the spreader plates on the rear chassis, the gussets. I know you've all asked to see more gussets, so we've got to put them on, finish the engine mounts, because at the moment they are just the outer frame of them. I need to plate the top, and the bottom will be a plate with a recess out of it basically, so you can get to the nuts, because I don't think we'll go that far without a tight engine mount. Then it's just putting it together. Now, like I said, I've got a parcel coming that will make that a lot easier, but I'm going to wait until it's here, probably till we're at that stage, and then I'll explain what it is. So we are actually getting somewhere with it, although I've got to have a tooth taken out tomorrow. I said in a few videos back that I was having a tooth removed. I didn't actually have it done in the end. The dentist was ill, thank the Lord, because I'm not looking forward to it, but I've got to have that out in the morning. I'm notorious for getting dry socket. If you don't know what it is, Google it, it's horrible. I get it every time. I say that like I've had lots of teeth out, I've only ever had 2 out, but on both of them I've got dry socket. So I've got to be pretty careful tomorrow as far as lifting stuff and that sort of thing, and I've got a load of stuff I need to do in the office anyway. I've got a couple of clothing drops I want to do, so I'll take that time tomorrow to sort that, and I will draw up the ram mounts as well, because now the body's on, I know exactly where the chassis sits. I wasn't sure if it was going to sit flat on the floor, and I didn't want to waste any space on the ram. So now we know where it sits, I can actually build them mounts. So we'll get them welded on first probably, because that will affect the rear. Obviously they're going to come inside that rail, so we need to know where they are to then put the tub work in. I had a message from Slambasser earlier, and the pump and stuff is ready, so that will be coming soon, so we can get it going up and down. Then we've got to plumb the engine in, and radiator, that sort of stuff, make it a car again. The wheels as well, I have actually put in the order for aluminium. I was gonna make steel faces. I've actually put in the order for aluminium. So we're going to take a trip over to Harry's and machine them, and pray to God they work. I've gone for 16s as well. I've gone for a 16-inch face. So we'll make it 16. If I decide I want 17s, obviously you can step it up with the lips and barrels, whereas if I go for 17-inch face originally, I'm then stuck at 17s. I'm kind of leaning towards running 16s anyway, because I can have a slightly meatier tyre on it, and I think it'll probably suit the look of the car. But I was going to end this video because I'm going to the dentist, but I thought, you know what, we'll carry on. So I will film all the way until I go home Friday and post it up Sunday. So, carry on. I really ruined it then because I felt like I was going for an outro, but carry on. See you in a second. Goodbye. But not goodbye. Hello, me again. So, I had my tooth out, and it was horrible. But that's about that. Look at this. I'll be honest, I have no idea about pedal boxes, but it's got 3 pedals, so I reckon we're onto something with that. I think I'm going to make a sheet metal, basically a back and a down, cut that out of the floor so we can sit this back a bit, because at the moment it doesn't sit that far in, and although my legs are short, they're not that short. But let me get you off the tripod. Hello. Now, I have come to Harry's to make these wheels. I wasn't going to film this, but a lot of people have asked to see it. So, we're going to attempt to make some one-off wheels. I want flat faces, so I was just going to cut some steel rings or some steel faces on the plasma and just be done with it. But Harry's now got involved, and he has a lot of jazzy machinery. So the plan is, I got hay fever, I think. Itchy nose. The plan is to make these wheels. We're not really sure how we're going to make them yet. They'll obviously be flat on the front, and I'm going to face mount them. But as far as the backs, I think we're going to put a curve in them to sit them on the hub without a need for a spacer. So we will see. He's already started facing one of them, so we're going to do probably all of them. I'll add clips in as we go. I'll stop moving as well, sorry. I'll add clips in as we go. I'll film some bits, but I'll do some explaining when we work out what we're doing, because if not, it'll be guesswork. But I'll take you in there now and show you, because he's started. Right, we started with some flat discs. They're 30mm thick. Harry's now faced them across, and I might actually leave them in that finish on the car. But next step is to get one of the wheels and actually see what size these have got to be, basically how we're going to design them. So I will report back in a minute when we know. What have we done now, Harry?
Turn the frame 50 down on it, face that one face.
Face to face.
Yeah.
And, oh, I shouldn't touch that, should I? I could have lost a finger.
You can touch whatever you want.
We're now making them the right size to fit in. This. And Jay, I had to borrow one of your faces to do this, sorry. Explain. What is the plan now?
Skim the face, get them all 0, and then we'll take off 14mm down to the guard at the boss of the wheel. Then we'll spin it back round, take the extra little lip off that'll be there, and then we're done.
Oh, lovely.
Or back hole in the middle.
Oh yeah, big hole in the middle. Maybe some to hold it onto the car.
Yeah, well, I'm not doing that.
Little ones around the edge. Harry won't let me do it with the drill. Apparently we've got to use a big machine. But yeah,
You're not using your black head.
we're doing all the lathe stuff tonight, and then he's going to sort the rest when I'm not here. Because I don't think I'm helping. I think I'm more of a
I'll
hindrance.
send you a professional iPhone video of it.
iPhone will do. Yes?
It's not a sword now.
I made an aluminium wig.
I've made an aluminium wig.
What are we doing now?
Take them more.
Very professional. So, quick update for you. Face has been milled off flat. We're starting to get down to the right size now, and we're starting to put the back on where it'll bolt to the hub. The reason this is stepped at the moment is because we're going to radius it, kind of how our standard wheel is. And we're just going to keep going, but I will film as much as possible, but I don't want to be too repetitive. But yeah, this is where we're at, and it's pretty light now. I was originally going to do these out of steel, but I'm glad we went for Addy because it's damn sight lighter. The only thing that won't be in this video is putting the holes in, because they're going to do that on Monday. I opted to do it with a drill, but he said no. So it's going to go on this machine, and that'll lay in there, and then that will drill the holes and spin round and move. And, you know, it's better than me doing it with a hand drill. But that is where we're at, and it's about 7:30 now, I think, 8 o'clock, something like that. So thank you to Harry for staying late and doing these. And I can't stop looking around, there's so many cool things in here. But let's get back to it.
Yes.
It's just getting the master at work.
I don't know where he is.
Just seeing how annoying I can be with the camera.
Absolutely not at all. Never. You
So-
annoying? Couldn't believe it.
We have done, the royal we.
Team effort.
Alright, we've done this. Now we're going to do this. What are we doing now?
I'm sticking a rad on here,
Put a lovely little radius on that inside
so it's
bit.
pretty that you'll never see.
Yeah, never going to see it.
Pretty bit that you'll never see.
We're going to do it anyway.
Yes, we are. Probably needs to call it. That one just we'll see how we go for them.
So, last bit of machining is done for tonight. It's about midnight now, so I'm ready to go home. But this is the wheel. The radius. Now, it's got the lip to locate, the lip and barrel. It's got the centre spigot. I don't know if you call it a spigot. To bolt onto the car. All that's left now is to obviously drill the hole in the centre for the hub, 4 for the wheel bolts, and the 34 around the edge for the lips and barrels. But I will end this video here. I don't know whether to leave them aluminium or get them coated, so comment below what you think. And yeah, like I say, it's midnight, so I'm going to go home now. It's about a 40-minute drive, and then we're going to go to bed. But these are getting drilled on Monday, and then I will probably show them getting built up, or potentially just leave it until they're done and on the car and go for the big reveal.
Yeah, tell Trev leak the hard drive, I'm ever caught in traffic. Don't let a label milk my name, just give my mom the cash. It's a new era, same pro, and I want all the static. I've been killing since some tours with static. Even before we in the basement and recorded magic. Who would've known? They know my name in South Africa. 15-hour flights, I landed and performed these ballads. Sparring sessions, but it's never padded. Woke up in Wonderland once I followed the white rabbit. I've been running for miles, it's hard to keep my balance. Papa Doc, these other rappers, if I'm ever challenged, baby. Battle tested, but it's me who been my hardest.
Me again. So, thank you for all the comments on the wheels. I think we're probably going to go brushed with them, or polished, I don't know. But anyway, back to it, because we have only got 2 weeks left until we're meant to be taking this to roll hard. Might trailer it, but I've never done that before. It's very out of character, but we shall see. But enough of that. As you've just seen, I have done some cardboard designing and then cut some bits out of steel. Now, as you've probably guessed, these are the shock towers, or the ram mounts. The reason they got a weird tag on them is when I cut the subframe out, I went a little oversized on purpose. But this means that's how we'll go between the chassis and the thing. Got a slot on there and hold the rams. So, let's clean the rest of these up and get into the video.
With how I feel because it's hard to show. Grateful for my past, but got so far to go. My heart been on my sleeve, you watch me bleed, I got the scars to show. And we still on this yellow tape, bro. Hey. Is there gold at the end of the rainbow? Hey. And we still on this yellow tape, bro. Hey. Is there gold at the end of the rainbow? Some people change and now I'm not surprised. Wishful thoughts when you ignore the signs. You authentic with your circle, but a fraud in mine. You know you crossed the line, your notoriety was never notarized. But so it goes, I'll find another side. The revolution won't be publicized. There's a war outside, but it's internalized. Different struggles in these troubled times. In like a year, I feel I double mine. You know I'm sorry, should've done you right. But I've been caught up with this double life.
Now then, cleaned them, folded them, and just shaped them a little bit so they fit neat. So what we've got is plate each side. They slot down in between the subframe and the chassis, so that, in my head, gets rid of a bit of stress that way, because it's tied down into the chassis and the subframe. They're also flat on the subframe. Well, the plate I welded, I don't know if I ever showed, I think I did quickly, but there's a plate from the chassis to the top of the subframe. Now that gets rid of any of that movement. I mean, there shouldn't be any. What we've also done is they're 100mm at the bottom and go down to 30 at the top for where the ram mounts in. So these folds will also add strength. Now the plan is sheet down here, welded to the chassis up there, and then the same up on the inside. So we're going to have essentially a box which is welded everywhere. I can't see any way these can bend, so I think they'll be meant for the job. I guess next is to start welding these all on. Then we will move on to the rear. The rear is more of a teardrop shape mount, just to go onto the chassis rails we built. So I guess we will weld these on now, then weld the rears on, and then we need to drill the holes in these. So I actually done these without the holes in. I was going to put the holes in, but I've done it without, so it gives me a bit more play on the ram, so I can work out exactly where I want that to sit, because I've got to dodge the arm and the wheel. So I can drill them after, and then that is one job off of the list. We will have rams, so we can go up and down. Then we need to move on. I think next we will do the pedal box, but that will be in a later part of this video. So for now, enjoy watching me weld these up.
Baby, I'm not mad at all. We both tried and tasted fall. Can't hold our love against the wall. No. Every inch of me is hurting, and I just wanna leave it all behind. Yeah, I'm breaking up with you tonight. Yeah, you know it's hard to say. Yeah, you know we're not okay. I can see it in your face. We became a lonely place. Goodbye, so long, my dear love. Love is forgotten, so I'm moving on. Goodbye, so long, my dear friend. We did our best until the very end. Baby, I don't wanna fight. It has to hurt, that's how I know it's right. But you won't feel the pain alone. No. Every inch of me is hurting, and I just wanna leave it all behind. Yeah, I'm breaking up with you tonight. Yeah, you know it's hard to say. Yeah, you know we're not okay. I can see it in your face. We became
Now the rear, I've opted for these. So they'll tie underneath here like this, obviously two, and the ram will then bolt to them. Simple as that. The reason I've not just come off of this face and gone underneath is obviously it spreads the load of it. So when you hit a bump, that will push against this face, and when that pulls down, that will then transfer it onto the bottom face. If that makes any sort of sense. So yeah, the rear is pretty simple. I may put a plate round the top, but I might not. I will weigh that up as I can. Right, it's a new day. I welded the towers on the front. I've not completely finished them, but I'm gonna skip back to them when I actually come to mount the rams, and I'll go over them a little bit more. But for now, I need to get all this metalwork done in the next day or so. So I've got to make a firewall. So this is pretty much, I've just made these panels up. That's just a simple flat bend, and I'm going to weld it in and build the tunnel off of that. I've also changed the floor for the pedal box, so the floor will actually drop down lower, and this will replace the original tinware, and the pedals will sit in there. I'll just put them at a better angle, and then I'm going to have one of those, a bit like they have in rally cars and that, like a, I suppose like a floor extension, just to get my feet up to a nicer position. But next I'm going to make the back half of the tunnel, I think, and then obviously this section and this section, and then we've got to do the rear metalwork. So I will follow myself around with the GoPro and show you what I get up to. But for now, I've got a lot to do, so it's good. Right, I need to apologise first because I brought the wrong SD card for the GoPro, so I thought I was doing better and I've actually done worse. So I filmed a load of stuff and none of it is on the card. So sorry about that. I said I'd try and get more time lapses of as I was doing stuff, and I've done the complete opposite, but I have made that tunnel section. Obviously the front firewall I think was in the last successful clip I've got, and then I've made this is the next part of the tunnel. Obviously it gets wider as it goes up that way and taller as it goes up. That'll finish that gap between this part of the tunnel and that. The reason I've got no bead rolls or anything in it is because I want to make, I've had this idea for, well, it's not my idea, but for years I've always seen people put separate panels on top of metalwork, and I've always thought it looked cool, and obviously we've got access to that CNC plasma, so it made more sense when I do it, but basically I needed as many flat surfaces as I could on there, and then we'll bolt probably 3mm plate on top with the pattern cut in it. So like the tunnel would be black, and then I could do whatever colour I pick for an accent. You can then do, you know, copper panels or whatever on top. Should make sense when I do it. But for now, because it's really humid today, so I'm going to try and put off the welding until the morning. So what I'll probably do is fettle in panels and get them tacked in, but what I'm going to do first is cut out this section. You can see the lines both sides. I'm going to cut that section straight out because I believe I can fit the fuel tank in there. So I'm going to cut them out, see if I can fit the tank, because if I can, that will obviously change this rear seat metalwork. So I'm going to try and do that, cut that out first, and then from there we can then see if the tank fits. If it does, we can go about making the panels for this rear seat section. So I think the plan for the rest of the day is to try and get all of them panels made, and try and get everything tacked in from front to back, because then I can come in when it's colder in the morning. I'll come in early and weld it all up, and then the actual metalwork on the body is done then. Yes, I think it is. So that'll all be done, then the body can lift off. I can finish welding everything on the chassis, at which point I'll go over the chassis and show all the stuff we've done in case there's anything that I've missed. Underseal the body, paint the chassis, run the brake lines and things, drop the body back on. Obviously we've only got 6 days, I think 7 days until roll hard, where I want to use this. So there's a lot to do. So with that being said, I better get on. So, with a little bit of cutting, we have a giant hole. Now, you might be wondering why I'm using the Mazda tank, and that is because I know it works. And although I've spent a bit of money, I'm trying to save as much as possible. So it just seemed like the best, cheapest option. Plus, when we go for the turbo, I can buy a pump for this tank that I know just bolts in and works. It's obviously a sealed, well, they're all sealed, but it's a sealed unit. I think what the plan now is going to be make a sheet, cut a sheet the right width, right, and I'm going to attempt to fold it there, come along, fold down, go along and marry up with the bottom down here. So it's going to be a full width of a sheet, 1250, and about 890, something like that, 850 wide. Which is as wide as we can get in our crap little folder, and I'm going to attempt to do all the folds in it in one go, so it'll be one continuous sheet from front to back. So I will join you back here in one moment, maybe with a successful panel, but probably with a big old bit of scrap. I'm so knackered, but let's get it done. It actually worked. Surprised. So that is now the petrol tank hole, the rear seat area. I've obviously got to make like the sides for this. It'll weld on down there, and I've got to do the angled bits in the top of the tubs, and obviously you've got to weld the tunnel in, the pedal box bit, but 90% of the panel work is done now. I'm going to go home and edit this, because if not I'll have a load to edit at one go, so I'll do it in bits. And tomorrow I've got to weld it in. I need all the sheet metal work done tomorrow to stay on track. Then I've got to take the body off so I can underseal it all and actually weld up all the other bits, like these shock towers. You can see, obviously I need to put a top on them, I need to put the inside on, but I need the wheels off for that. The wheels are done now. I forgot to show them earlier on. They've been back here most of the week. Pedal box, yeah. So, still lots to do, but I am quietly confident that next weekend we could drive this. But, see you in the morning. So, it's actually not the next evening, but it's the day after that. And as you can see, the car has gone for its MOT. Obviously not. It's there. So, what has been happening? Well, I've been getting on with the metalwork. I haven't filmed a great deal because it's very samey. But we've got I'll start here. Got this the section welded in for the pedal box, firewall, tunnel. I explained in the last one why there's no bead rolling in this. I was going to put panels on top of it. We've got the rear. Hang on. We've got the rear section all in for where the fuel tank's going to go. I've just got one more tub to do that side, and the sheet metal work is done. Then the plan is to lift the body off, make sure everything's good underneath, and then seal the underneath. I've got a few bits to do on the chassis. Still got to put my gussets in, and then bolt the two back together for the final time. Now, other things have also been happening. This is all that's left of the seat and the material. Ages and ages ago in a video I put up that they had been kind of eaten. So I decided to replace it with foam. So I basically just want to keep the material. There's a bit of a going on outside. Freya and Jane have sorted my seats out for me. They've cleaned them and conditioned, might be the technical term. So they're now good to go. I've just obviously got to do the foam for the rear. Now we're running Mazda fuel tank, so that'll just slot in. We can use the original pump. Pedal box has got to go in, but that's obviously when the body's back together. The wheels went for brushed in the end. So I brushed them and just put a thin layer of lacquer on them just to stop them going too quick. But the parts for them should arrive Monday, along with the rest of the hydraulic stuff. So it's full steam ahead.
Crunch time, baby.
Hey. Yeah. Hey. Get the fuck up out my face. Money tucked inside the safe. If you ask me what I want, what you brought me in the case. Dodging ops, getting guap. Get the fuck up out my way. I'm forever on the race till they catch me in the chase. Get the fuck up out my face. Money tucked inside the safe. If you ask me what I want, what you brought me in the case. Dodging ops, getting guap. Get the fuck up out my way. I'm forever on the race. Rainy days, stormy winters.
Welcome back to the Austin build. Right, as you've just seen, the body is done underneath. The chassis is now done on the top. I'm probably going to change a lot of this once I've used the car, but I need to know what works well, what doesn't, and so, you know. But, a quick rundown. The rear end, got the rams all mounted and in, got a bit of paint on the stuff. I put these strengtheners back in the floor. I've run for me, this is impressive, I put all new brakes on the rear, new calipers, everything. I've got the Hell braided lines, I've plumbed in the back lines, and this one runs to the front. I've then got the shock towers are in, rams are mounted, engine mounts are all boxed off and done. I filled in the gaps at the front. we have got a complete chassis. Now we've only got a few days that I'm meant to be driving this car, so lots to do, but whilst we roll the chassis back under the body, I will hand you over back in time to Chris doing my wheels, because Chris loves to step in at the last minute and do all the shit jobs I don't want to do. So thank you for that, Chris, but the wheels are done and on. I did buy the wrong size tyres, but we'll get into that later. But for now, I'll pass you over to Chris 2 days ago? Hang on, it's me again. I forgot to actually show you the body. So, the firewall section is all done, the tunnel underneath. This is obviously the section I put in for the pedal box, so the cylinders sit on the outside. And then we've got obviously the rear tubs, the rear floor. This is the rear end of the tunnel. Obviously all tubs and in, and this is where the fuel tank will sit on the inside. So now let's go to Chris.
Right, so you joined me from my home workstation. Now it's Monday, I don't work Mondays, but it's crunch time this week, so Jack needs all the help he can get. One thing I can do is I can build these wheels up from home for him, because it's a bit of a tedious job, it's a bit time consuming, so he's got better things to be getting on with. I can do this from home. So, I've built up several sets of wheels in the past. I'm no professional, so, you know, don't exactly follow me, because it might not be right. But, what we're going to do is, these are obviously 3-piece, so they need to be sealed in here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start with, or what I normally do, I'm going to start off with a wire wheel and a drill. And I'm going to clean each of these lips up, even though these lips are brand new, these are second hand. And I'm going to run round the face where everything meets up. So I'll go around with a wire wheel on the drill. I'll also go around a bit of Scotch pad to clean them up. And then just a bit of thinners, clean any last bits off before we put any sealant on there. I'm using like OB1 sealant and adhesive, black, she'll do. And then, yeah, so I'm just going to clean these up, put a bit of silicone around them, nuts and bolts through them, put some valves in them, and then when I go into work tomorrow we can put some tyres on. Let's get on with it.
Body's on. Chris is now making a bracket for the fuel tank, and it's looking pretty good. I have been fitting the pedal box. So these are now on the outside in the engine bay. This stuff's all in here, and it goes, whoop! That all works. So that all kind of went to plan, which makes a refreshing change. Next on the list, oh no, I've done an Oh god. Next up on the list is I'm going to, this is my brake line from the back, so that will go into that master cylinder, and then I'm going to tee the front two together like they were, put them in that one, clutch in that one. Then I'll run the reservoirs up and mount them. That will then be brakes fully done on the car. And then I need to move on to steering. So I'll go on with the steering. Chris is going to put some Dodo mat in the back section. Dodo. Then bolt the tank in, and then we will move on to the false floor in the boot. Then the hydros can go on top of that, and we can run the hydro lines, and hopefully by the end of the day it will go up and down, backwards, forwards, stop, and turn. Well, it won't, because it won't be running, but Chris can push me around and it should do that. So, I think we need to get on. I will film each section. I'll do an update each time we do it. There's only so much I can film when we've got to build a full car in a day, but yes. So it's the next day now. Nothing went to plan. But I started doing the lines, the clutches in, the rears are in. We had to order some fittings, which held us up a little bit. I've put brackets on for the flexies now, so I've got to run them lines. I'm just waiting for a T-piece, and then I can finish those. So I actually moved on with the steering in the end. So this is MX5, MX5, MX5. That's the bottom bearing from the MX5 column. And then this is the original Austin, so we can keep the steering wheel. But when I turn this, these turn. So that's a bit of a result. It's a fairly simple setup in the grand scheme of things, but that's another one off of the list. Christopher.
Hello everyone.
Bolted the tank in and put in the Dodo mat. And now he's ran the hydro lines to the front and the rear, and he's now looking at fuel lines. We're going to try and use the original MX5 fuel system front to back to save there being any joins or anything. So I'll update that in the next clip or so when we get that joined in. See, the hydro lines need to go on. What I'm going to do now is trim the back out of this wing where the turret is. So I'm going to trim that out now so I can put a wing on, because then we'll know where we can clip the lines, etc. And this side of the engine is all doable from above with the wing on. So that's the next plan. By the end of the day, the car will be running and driving. I say that at the end of every day. It's never happened, but we might be getting somewhere. But there's a lot to do, so I'm going to put the camera down and join you when we've done a bit more. It's the next day.
Yeah, it is.
We are having a well-earned break, while...
I'm not having a break, I'm working.
Shut up. While Gary is giving it the car cleaning treatment because I didn't want to. And they nicely offered whilst Chris worked on the van.
But don't be fooled, the car is nowhere near done.
It's nowhere near done. But I will walk out there. I probably won't be able to use the audio, but I'll show you from the outside. First glimpse. Fucking beautiful. But there's still a shitload to do, so we will get back on it when we finish normal day-to-day work. But until then, bye. So, a day has passed since I last filmed. I am now a broken shell of a man, and the workshop is in an absolute state. But just look at it. Now, it might seem like I glossed over a lot of stuff, but a lot of it was just small little jobs, like fitting the accelerator cable and bleeding the brakes and things. We were that intensely getting it finished, I didn't pick up the camera as much as I should have, so I will apologise for that. But like I said, I'm going to do a big full rundown on this in its own video, but unfortunately we didn't get it finished in time. We got it 99% there, and then the ECU and the base map, I just couldn't get it to work. It's my own fault. I should have tried to do the wiring part of it earlier in the week when the company was open, because I have also, actually, let's skip back a little bit. I haven't mentioned the one thing I said I was going to buy, that I did buy, that I said I'd tell you about later on, was actually a full standalone ECU, and you can see it. Ignore the mess inside. But I brought a full terminated wire and loom and ECU from Motorsport Electronics. They'd done us a bit of a deal, which was a massive help, but it means I didn't have to run any of the MX-5 loom, and it's all standalone, mappable, boostable, because we're going to turbo it. So it kind of done all of that, and it's a really nicely made loom. It only uses the stuff you need to use, and so I could literally just plug all the sensors on the engine, plug it in, do the base map, and it would have ran. But there was some issues, so the actual next video is going to be getting it running. There's like the cool little touches we've done, like the extended gear stick. It's the original Austin stick. Chris tapped out the bottom and put that on for me while I was getting on with the pedals. The wheels obviously came out cool. I'm not sure if I should have gone for 17s maybe, so I may step them up in the future. We've got the full Slambasser hydro set up in the boot. Well, it's got back windows in. They've never been in since I've had it, so that's quite nice. Went with the original Austin steering wheel, all hooked up to the Mazda steering. The pedal box is all in and done. They all do pedal things now. So yeah, we had to rush through a lot of it, but nothing has been rushed. We just put in a lot of hours, so although we rushed it, we didn't actually rush it. Everything's been done to a good standard. Made a battery clamp and put that up there with all the wire and the brake reservoirs. Obviously bottom of the pedal box, wire and loom, fuel lines, steering. Everything's done well. There's a couple of little things now. I have a bit more time. I was going to do these when I got back from Roll Hard, but I can do them now. Like the exhaust comes out underneath and it kind of points too close to maybe the back of the wheel, so there's just going to be a lot of heat in that area, so I think we'll extend that out. Wire and loom, I'm going to tidy up a bit more and just, make it all a little bit neater, loom tape everything. But all in all, it's nearly done. So next week's video, by the time it goes out, it should be running and driving. I want to get it running, drive it, make sure everything works, and then make a plan from there. This is never going to be the end of the Austin series because I need to do a full interior. I also want to turbo it, although I did look at throttle bodies this morning, which might be cool. It might suit the car more. But yeah, all in all, there's been a lot done in this week. I want to do a shout out for Chris, who helped. He didn't have to jump on and help, but he had a couple of spare days, so he helped massively. He jumped on and done all the jobs I didn't want to do and just helped push it along. Also, my dad and Jane came down all day yesterday. They were here till I think about 11 o'clock last night helping, and they certainly didn't have to. They could have easily put their phones on silent, but they jumped in and helped. Freya's obviously helped along the way. My mum has given me a lot of encouragement. Luckily, I have parents who think my stupid ideas are also cool, so that helps. But yeah, we've got a lot to do, but a lot has been done. I've got these as well. I've had these done for a little while, but I didn't want to release them until the car was done because they say Dropwork Speed Shop, and then they've got the same logo on the front but smaller. thought it'd be silly to do a speed shop t-shirt without anything speedy, but this is, you know, speedy-ish. So they will be on the website when this goes live. Also, one last thing that I completely forgot to mention is, with this ECU and wiring and things, it also means I have a digital dashboard. So that means I now have speedo and the lot. I have everything I need to be able to see what's going on with the engine. The other thing is Auto Finesse, Gareth, obviously, while they were down here, done a lot of polishing, but it was had to be fairly quick. But like you can see the shine that's come up on the paint is wild, really. It needs a lot more, but like the reflection is, I was trying to show it didn't work. The reflections come up great in it. So, with that being said, I am knackered. I've not had much sleep for the last few days, and I need to go home and edit this now. It's Sunday at the moment. It's actually getting quite late in the day, so if it's up tonight, nice. If it's not, apologies, it will be up Monday. So, as you can see, it does run and drive now. It's just on the base map, so it needs mapping. I also need to sort a few things, like this shouldn't be cable tied here. And this pipe is less than ideal. Along with this absolute bird's nest of wiring. I brought a relay box type setup. It's just a bit crap, if I'm honest. So I think I'm just going to wire it in the old-fashioned way and actually wire in the individual relays and a fuse block. So we've got to finish the wiring and make that all safe. Tidy up a few things in the engine bay. Just get the sensors and stuff in. I need seats, because at the minute I'm sitting on a wheel and I nearly fell off it in that bit I just filmed. It slid backwards, so I need to do that. But first, to make it easier to move, I need to bleed the clutch some more. Potentially the brakes, but I'm not sure until I actually use it. But I have got a vacuum puller thing that apparently doubles up as a brake bleeding thing. It is this thing. So you put that on the nipple, give it a bit of, and then crack it open. So I might try that way, because it's a bit of an arse to bleed as it is. So I think we'll go for that first, and then we'll have a look at putting some seats in. But it's also the end of the day, because we have jobs and I can only do so much in a video. But like I say, I haven't been in all week, but I wanted to get something out for you to watch, so let's bleed a clutch. First things first, got to shut the window with this tiny apologies if that made you seasick. Now, got to a bit close to the camera then, sorry. Haven't YouTubed in a week, forgot how to do it. Now, we're going to open the bonnet. Right, the clutch is down there. So, we'll do that thing where you guess spanner sizes for 10 or 15 minutes. until you actually find them. I'll just take them. Let's have a look. Wrong. Right, it's the one I don't have. I'll join you back in a minute. Didn't work. I'm going to get my glamorous assistant. I just let a load of air in and spilled a load of fluid, so let me get him to come and hold. Might help if we hold the pedal down as well. Christopher,
Yes, boss.
can I borrow you?
Let's go. Let's go. What are we doing?
Bleeding.
Oh, how do you do that? Makes some nice squirty noises.
I've just got fluid everywhere. I think the trouble is the end falls out. One would assume it would vacuum on. One would be wrong.
I don't know how it works. I've used it once, I just can't remember how.
What's the pedal doing?
It's just stuck down now.
Oh no!
Yeah, no, it's just fully stuck down. There's nothing to it anymore. We'll be right back once we've figured this out. Right. Oh, down?
Is it down?
Yeah.
Go, fuck it.
Oh.
Yeah, a few times.
Hold her down. Give her a pump.
Sorry.
Are we up or down?
We're down.
Give her a pump. Sounds so aggressive.
We've got them big old stompers. I'm getting toe cramp. We're down.
Go down.
Give her a pump.
Really awkward sat on this. I say seat, but it's not a seat.
Fill your crotch.
Sit down.
Right, what's it like now?
I mean, it's resistancy, but I'm not quite sure how it's meant to feel.
I beg your pardon?
I said it's resistancy, but I'm not quite sure how it's meant to feel. It feels like a clutch. I mean, whether it is a clutch.
If anyone sees this missing bit of paint, no you didn't.
What happened?
There's still brake fluid on it.
Would you like to try it?
It's very aggressive.
It's just strong.
It is. It's burning my hands as well as my paint.
What you need is a Dropworks Customs wing cover.
Would have been a great sales pitch, wouldn't it?
It would have been a perfect time to be using them. It's a damn shame we haven't got any stock. Coming back soon. Oh, my phone's ringing. I wonder if that baby's on its way. Hang on, I might have to stop filming.
Well, we have a clutch. Part 2 of this video is going to be, what do you do when you spill brake fluid on your paint. So, I guess we'll get some polish. Out of all the things I've done on this car, this might be the most annoying because the paint was actually not bad, but we'll see what happens with a bit of triple. Not bad actually. If Gareth's watching this, he's going to be well angry. Cool. Good, isn't it? So, Chris is potentially about to have a baby, so I've let him go. I thought it was only fair. But, a quick recap. Clutch is now done. Wiring, I'm not massively happy with. Obviously, the loom and everything's nice, but I'd like to route it better. So, now, obviously, this video's been a bit debatable. Because it's all been done within about an hour. But I now have a week, so we can get back up to how we were. But just a quick recap. Sort out the engine bay wiring. I need to run my intake, which I'm gonna run, because this is mathless now. So I'm gonna run an elbow and put my filter down here. Now, if I find I'm getting a load of heat from the radiator, then we'll move it. But that needs to go in. I need to sort the wiring inside because that is all a mess. I've also got to paint the tunnel, make my panels for that. That's just a temporary rear seat, so we need to make the actual rear seat, fit the seats, the front seats, put the clocks and everything back in. I've got the digital dash, that's going to hide up in that cubby hole. So that'll all be in this video because I want to get all this wire and type stuff sorted. Clutch is now bled. Brakes, like I say, until I kind of use it. Like I've got a decent pedal, but until I use it, I'm not sure. Another thing, the filler is just hanging out of the back. Now I'm going to run a 90-degree bend on there, 90-degree bend on there, and then a bit of flexible filler pipe to go between the two, so that will then shut. I'd also quite like to make some sort of case to go over the tank to seal it. Although it's a sealed tank, it's got breathers that run outside of the boot. I just don't like the thought of blowing up. So that's on the list. I've somehow put the front together wrong as well. So you can't really tell at this point, but this side is ever so slightly higher than that side. So I think I've gone in the wrong hole. So I've got to adjust that, get the side panels on, get the bonnet and everything to fit. Need to refit that door handle. We took the handle apart and repinned it for a key because it didn't come with a key. And then I think, obviously wire up my lights and wipers. There isn't a lot else on the car. So I think then we'll be ready for the first drive. Hello. That'll do. Right. This is another episode of me having a car but not driving it. So, I've got to tidy up all the wire and I've actually disconnected everything. So down here that's brake lights, fuel pump, and other bits like that. Oh, that's the alternator trigger. This is the ECU. Now with this motorsport electronic stuff, this lot runs out and does all of the engine side, it does all of the sensors, everything like that. And then This is the relay for the power for it. Obviously I've got my wires that were going to my ignition switch. This is the earths are all bunched together. There's a couple of sensors I'm not using at the minute for the turbo based stuff, but they will be used at some point. I've got my digital dash wiring is in here. So basically I just want to tidy everything up. Now I think I might mount it up under the dash out of the way. I've also got a fuse box. I've got a breaker to go between the battery and everything. That's actually a resettable one, so it's also a bit of security in theory. If I pop that off then nothing will work. I've got a fuse box and a couple of relay holders, fuses, things to make everything safe. But I think I might mount the ECU up under here where I took this panel out, and I might put my fuse box and things here, so that will all actually be hidden. We're going to make a cup holder, center console type jobby in the middle. We do have a seat. We have one seat. We've got another seat. That's not in yet. I had to modify the seat a little bit, but it's back in where it should be, and all seems about right. My feet reach, steering wheel. Everything seems about there. So let's get into it and try and actually go for a drive in this car at some point. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is actually tidy up all this wiring that's on the engine. Obviously I put everything on just to get it running, but if I actually route that neatly now, it will dictate how much is on the inside, so I'll know exactly where I can mount the ECU. Whilst I do that, Freya is going to take apart my front brakes for me, because when I put them together I didn't actually have any copper slip or anything, so they're all gone together fairly dry, so she's going to strip them apart for me and sort that out, because she is the resident mechanic. So I will join you back in a moment once I have tidied this end up and worked out where we're going to mount stuff. So here is where we're at. Let me try and get comfortable laying down in this car. ECU mounted up under here, and here is my relays and things that I said in the last clip. So I got the breaker up here, that then runs the power to this fuse box. Obviously we've got the earth in. I've got fuel pump and radiator fan. This is obviously the one for the thing. These are all fused individually. This is so uncomfortable. I'm going to tuck all this extra wiring, but wiring that I will need in the future, just up under the dash for now. So what I've still got to do today is connect all my earths back up. I've got to join in the fuel pump. This is the wiring actually from the pump in the tank. Put that back on the relays, obviously clip it all up neatly, and then run my wiring up from here to here for my ignition switch. And then as far as the car running, we're all back together. Obviously I still need to do lights and things, but I've got to get some bulb holders. I think I'm going to change the front setup in the front lights because it's a wild... Oh, I'll meet you there, hang on. So, this is the inside of the front lights. There's a lot of stuff in there. There's a lot of stuff that already smells like fire. So I think what I'm going to do is get rid of the resistors and the coil and all this, you know, I can't even focus on it. There you go. All this confusing stuff, and just run a more modern bulb holder in there. I'm actually tempted to run... Hang on. I'm scared. I don't want to drop the light. Oh. Didn't want to drop that. Yeah, I'm tempted to run LED bulbs in the front, little LEDs in here. On the rear we've obviously got these lights and the ones in there. I'm tempted to run them all on LEDs because they obviously use less power. I can use a smaller gauge wire and it just keeps everything a little bit neater, plus they will in theory be better. There is also the indicators which pop out of here. Now they do have, hang on, they do have, this is never going to work. They do have bulbs inside them. I believe they just stay on. There's no flasher unit or anything like that. Yes, that's where we're at currently. So I will do a little bit more. It's a little boring. I can't really film it, but I'll do a little bit more, and then we'll go for the startup again and pray to God that it does start again. If it doesn't, I might cry. Update time. We have got, I think, it's a little bit messy at the minute. I need to clip everything, but I want to test it first in case none of it works. So I thought I'd better film it, because if it goes on fire, at least we can all, you know, we can all be there together. So first thing, put this on. Right, no sparks. I'm classing that as good. Next thing is flick my little relay. Oh, I put it quite far up. Still no fires. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm quite nervous. I'll turn the key. Right. I don't know if anything's happened. Have I missed something? No. I feel like something's happening, but I also feel like it's... What I need is one of them little lights so you know your ignition's on. Well, that's come on. Oh yeah, I messed up there. I played with the digital dash too much and messed up the screens. That one's just black. I guess we try start it? Well, in for a penny, in for a pound. Shall we see what happens? That doesn't seem right. I'll join you in a second. Okay, so I've checked everything and it all seems right. So I'm just gonna try again. Okay, so it runs, but I don't think the fuel pump's working. So, I will investigate. There's only a few things it can be because it was working, which is why I got the car running before I tried to do all the wiring. Whether the ECU's not telling it to come on or not, I mean probably not, it's probably just something I've done. These are wired, so it's just, the earth is the switch for the relay, so if I put an earth to it, the fuel pump will come on, but it's not coming on with the ignition, so I've probably just done it wrong. But it ran and it didn't go on fire. For some reason the summer has gone and I haven't finished the car yet. But update. I am changing water pipes because they were slightly kinked and that was no bueno. So I'm making the 2 water pipes. Christopher is gonna attempt to pie cut me loads of little bits.
Done calculations.
He's done calculations, whether it'll go right or not, I'm not sure. We're gonna run a 180 here and mount the air filter here because it would just fit in there with the pipes moved, but that's going to mean nothing but hot air. What else has happened? Yeah, nothing has really happened this week. It's been a busy week of mental breakdowns and physical, mental, very, very broken week. So it's now Saturday and this is booked in to go on the rolling road and get tuned on Tuesday. So we've got to finish up some bits. Also, Christopher, show him the indicator. Let me put this. Hang on. It is the older looking one. The one with the joiner in it. Not that one. Are we ready? Woo! That is my new favourite feature of the whole car. So yes, I'm going to finish the water pipes. Chris is going to start cutting them, and then we will weld them up, join the water pipes, and then I believe we are getting somewhere. I've also put a new exhaust on it because it was a little loud. That now finishes here. But that is only temporary anyway, because when the turbo goes on, obviously the exhaust will probably come out here in this area because it can be shorter. But for now, let's get on. Stupid radio. It's update time.
Welcome back, world. We are cutting some pies. Like it's live? Yes. So here's where we're at. Come, follow me. Let me grab my other bit. So it has to be quite a sharp angle.
Ooh, the lens isn't that long.
Sorry, guys.
No, we've both moved now.
So it's got to be quite a sharp angle because we're working in quite a tight space. And also I don't want to do a million cuts. So thus far, Jack's got a straight joiner on order. So we're up to here so far. We're now going to go here. And then the next one should come up here. And the next one will go here. And then the air filter will go here.
It seems a bit strange, but it's either that or have an air filter up against a radiator. Right?
Yeah, that's the two options really. It's that or have something like that right in there.
It's obviously going to suck all the heat out of that radiator.
Yeah.
Which might explode anyway because it's 75 years old.
I'm excited.
Yeah, we might need a new rad. Anyway, I've done the pipes now. There's metal joiners in here and you can see it in there. Stainless, I think they'll be alright. I don't know. But I'm going to put the Jubilee clips on them, that's then that done. Where'd you get that tea from?
Yours is about there somewhere.
Oh, I drunk that one, I thought it was a new one.
Oh no.
So that'll be the water pipes, air filter. My phone's ringing.
Oh.
I'll be back in a minute. Chris has finished his masterpiece. Now luckily our MIG welder doubles up as a TIG. You just swap a few things, swap the gas. So if you join me in 2 seconds your time, you'll see the worst bit of TIG welding on the internet. So that's all welded. The TIG welds were incredibly nice, but I ground them off. I will be taking no further questions. Stop laughing. I don't have the right tungsten, so there's only so much I could do with the TIG, and I've done the last few bits with the MIG. But anyway, I'm now going to wrap that with something to make it look a little prettier, and then not fit it on the car until I get the parts. But let's find something else to do. Bet you thought I paused then, didn't you? Right, it is the next day. I have put the clips on the water pipes. The intake is, ow fuck. The intake is on. I got a nice ram air. So that now misses everything, that panel. That'll miss. I've also finished the fuel filler using the right valves and everything that the MX-5 had on it. So that's done, pipes and that done. Exhaust I've just got to do, put a hanger on. That kind of is under there. I've just got to put a hanger on that. But we had an issue with the prop shaft, so we've got to rush and redo that, because obviously we extended it. So we've got to rush and redo that now, because it's going on the rolling road tomorrow. So we're going to shoot over there and sort that out, then come back and do the last few bits. I've got a new t-shirt on. Hang on. Got a new t-shirt on. If you are interested, anyone, leave a comment, because I don't know whether to make them or not, but I've got a few. But I can do some more, but we're in a rush, so I am now going to go and do the prop and then come back, do a few more bits and then edit this. So it's now Tuesday. The car has gone to Panda Performance, which is a local guy near us. He has done me a solid and said he's going to fit it in, whether he stays an evening or whatever, get it in and get it tuned, because I can't really do anything until it's tuned. I can't set the hydros. I can't really do anything now until it's running. We are meant to be going to the driver's collection on Sunday. So depending on when I get the car back, we've got the last few bits. I need to wire up the lights and a few bits like that, and then we should be good to go. Now, we are currently doing some finishing touches. But before I bore you all with this, you'll all come to see the dyno runs, I'm sure. So I will put them in now and join you back here in but a moment. We are back. I hope you enjoyed the dyno runs as much as I enjoyed watching them. But what are we on now?
We are currently making some centre caps for the wheels to finish them off.
So, you've all seen the wheels, but if you haven't, here they are. Now, this was centre cap number 1. It's obviously flush with the wheel. We went for the Dropworks Customs, but I wasn't sure. So then I hassled Chris, and we're looking more like a Dirtworks. The camera won't focus. And I think we're going to have them stick out a little bit more. So we've finalised that and going to set them going on the 3D printer. Chris has also done me a centre for the steering wheel. Now, I may change this and have a picture of an anvil or something in the middle. Chris is shouting at me now. Yeah, so I may change this, but I'm also open to suggestions. So I know it's early in the video to be asking things from you, but get in the comments, and I may even put the funniest one, as long as it's not a phallus, I may put the funniest one on there. So whether that be a picture or a saying. But as you've probably noticed already, the car's looking pretty complete. Now I have actually driven it. I was going to film the first drive, but it all got a bit hectic and I was a bit scared. So I just went for it and it was successful. So this video might have a little drive in it, but it might not because it's quite late and I'm already late putting this video out. So next week's video is going to be a full-on cinematic masterpiece of the car. But I thought for this one, I will do a rundown of the whole thing, because I've been saying since about 5 videos ago that I would. So, where do we start? Not there, that's right in the middle. We've got to start at one end. So, front end is all back on. Got these side panels in. Obviously the wheels you've seen. Now, the engine bay as a... oh no. As a whole, obviously the intake we done in the last one, everything fits in here pretty beautifully. There's space for a turbo, so that'll be going on. Original radiator is holding up well so far, but I'll probably jinx that now. So that is all pretty complete now. The interior we've finally got in. Both seats are in. Obviously the gear stick is the original one, we just put it straight upright. Now, clocks and everything are in, and all the light... that didn't work, hang on, I've got to do my security, back in a second. Wired all the original lights in with the exterior lights, which are also on. That's close enough. And the rears, damn it, the rears working as expected. They're brake lights. So that is all now working as it should. And we've still got the temporary rear in because I don't want to mess up the original material. Doors. the rears. So I messed up the hydros. I let too much nitrogen out, so when I did go on my drive, the rear was very, very soft, but I had them recharged. I found a place local to us who recharged them for me this morning. So the hydro is a mint now. I would recommend the Slambasseter kit because it rides beautiful. Obviously the exhaust is just hanging out the side, and it's already burnt the panel because of the flames. It's quite cool. It's quite leery when you drive it. But I will get back to these centre caps and join you in a moment and see how they turn out. Chris, how long do the centre caps take?
That'll be another hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
So I shall see you in but a moment.
So Chris needs to use the ramp, so I've got to pull this out anyway. So when you want to lift it, you just lift it. As easy as that. And then I'll give Chris the camera because I'm not showing you the secret starting procedure. It's funny he tries to steal it. I'm stuck on the fucking window winder with my trousers. Suicide
So
doors
just-
are not great.
To start it, you turn the key in the ignition.
It's a little more than that, my friend.
I'll pull out for once.
Just like that.
I did not expect these to take so long. It's so late at night as well, but centre caps. Got the caps done. Now, they don't look amazing, but I think they look better than just a hole in the middle. They don't look amazing because of my painting. I done that with a little pen last night. It took a lot longer than I care to admit. But also, on the list of few jobs, I've got an indicator stalk. I did like this column being bare, but I also like to indicate, so until I think of something better, that will be where that sits. Chris has also made a little cup holder, because we are off to Goodwood on Friday and Saturday for Goodwood Revival, and I'm taking this. So, there's a few little bits I need to get done, like a mount for the digital dash, obviously the indicators, and a few little bits like that. I am taking it home tonight just to put a few more miles on it, but everything seems okay. We've also put some new foam in this driver's seat because it was like collapsed on one side. It made it so hard to drive because you just tip them one way. So yes, a few more little jobs, but next I think I will wire up the indicators.
Nice.
One more thing I've been meaning to get fitted, which I'm not sure we've even actually seen in any videos, is the rear bumper. So I'll give this a polish, give these a little bit of a clean up because they've got to go on first, and then I will leave this exactly as it is. But I will give that a little polish and then pull the car in. Get it fitted.
Always had a way to make it work and find another route. Always had a way to make it work and find another route. Always had a way to make it work and find another route.
And the bumper is on. I think it gives it a look of class, like myself. This dirty old thing is going to get washed. It's the end of the day now, so I'm going to go home and get some rest. But I'm going to come in tomorrow, give this a wash, and then we're going to film them rollers that I spoke about earlier in the video. Now, what I will do is take you all on the adventure of trying to film some cinematics of this, loose term, in this video, and then I'm going to put this out Sunday morning, and then Sunday evening we'll put out the finished video of this. So, for now, I'm going home.
Yeah, 10 out of 10, let's wait. I've been going big on the page out of state. Do research, check out the back of my plates. I rep so heavy, attack when I take. Still, I'm on that for the long run. That name that you got, say the right one. Don't try me, I rap like a python. Had enough of the talk, they be hustling. Got my name up, came up off of nothing. Jersey gon' hang up like Jane, cause I'm chosen. Need my necklace and wrists, it's frozen. Getting bread out the game like I throwed it. It don't make me no bigger to show it. The stat, cause I'm here for the trophy. Made it law when they cannot appeal. Show them nothing less than all the real. What you think it cost me out the deal? All I know is how I came in from the dough. Since a touchdown, all they want is more. Now I'm known to the world, I ain't tryna feel. Just run it up till I hit. My money grown, project grown, feel at home. Got the juice, minute made. I'm calling game in his face. Soon as Slim hit a J, renegade. My people long, won't be long till we all sitting on center stage, getting right off what I do. I know they getting tight off how I move. I still ain't did a write-off on these juniors yet. I never even claimed that we was cool. Really, I was just playing it by the rules. Still moving like gang, got nothing to lose. But most of them won't know until I show them, and that's why I'm just trying to keep it smooth. Did it all of my prior just to prove that I can make it all real without they rules. And for the haul, I don't plan on stopping soon. All I know is how I came in from the dough. Since a touchdown, all they want is more. Now I'm known to the world, I ain't tryna feel. Just run it up till I hit a meal. 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 Just run it up till I hit a meal.
Okay, so that might be the worst wash that's ever been done to a car, but I'm going to take some quick detailer with me and do it when I get home. That's just to get the majority of the stuff off. But for now, let's go driving. I don't know how well you're able to hear me, but we've got some fuel, gained a misfire, and now attempting to drive home. I say attempting because something seems off. So I'll take you along for the journey, and I'm going to stop on my favourite sugar beet pad and get a couple of little clips to make an Instagram reel. So I will join you at the beet pad. I made it to the sugar beet pad. Nothing scares me more than wild farmer in tractor season. Like the amount of times I nearly got smushed then, and you really know about it when you've got like wooden pillars. Like it really makes you think about it. But I'm going to take a quick little video. I got my phone in the other hand if you wonder why you're just watching nothing. And a quick photo. Right, I'm going to carry on home. So, we made it home. I say we, it was just me. Never doubted it. Something seems off. But, as I said a little while ago in this very video, that I was going to release this Sunday morning, then do the rollers Sunday evening, it's now raining. So that's kind of hampered my plans to be able to get both done. So I think I'll put this one out Sunday evening. So, I have been offered another MX-5, and I also have this, which is a Jetta coupe. Now this was cut out to go on a beetle pan. As you can see, there's nothing. Now I said about making a drift car. What are your thoughts on MX-5 subframes, etc., like we did on the Austin, under a Jetta coupe with either a boosted Mazda engine or something else potentially in it? Tube frame. It's stuff that I've not done before but always wanted to have a go at. So let me know in the comments what you think about that. So that's potentially going to be on the list. Now we've got the body drop Navara is going to be coming next. I'm now sorting everything out to get that into motion. So that will be coming up. We've had a little weird period in the middle here where we haven't really been able to build anything because we've just been finishing one and trying to do the other. But Navara is definitely coming up, and that will probably run alongside something else. The lorry is then straight after the Navara, so I've got to get it out of there. So that is probably going to be a whole video in itself. But I will put this up Sunday night. I hope you enjoy watching it, and then shortly after, I'm going to say maybe Wednesday, we'll put out, I'm going to do like a cinematics and like a build breakdown video on the Austin, just to kind of tie that up for now, although it's still going to be in most videos because I've still got loads to do to it. I just wanted to start building something else. I've got a very short attention span. So thanks for watching this one. It was a little bit different. There'll be more of the Land Rover as well in the next videos. We're just going to try and capture more of everything that we do, and also do some, you know, other fun stuff as well. Try and bring a bit more entertainment to the channel, as you know, drifting, whatever that might be. But thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, comment if you've enjoyed this. What do you think we should do with the Jetta, or should we just get a completely different car to build the drift car? And I will see you on Wednesday. Goodbye. Oh, it's bloody raining.
Yeah, 10 out of 10, let's wait. I've been going big on the base out of state. Do research, check out the back of my place. I rep so heavy, attack when I take. Still, I'm on that for the long run. That name that you got, say the right one. Don't try me, I rap like a python. Had enough of the talk, let be hustling. Got my name up, came up off of nothing.
Oh, this fucking sucks. I hate this shit. So Jack's off printing all of your, I don't need to shout. I've got a fucking microphone.